You have to know something. There's some.
Top of show. Ready to roll track red. Robbie, Rusty. I'm talking to you here. 10 seconds. Is that the clock or what? We're going with that clock. Ready black and graphic. Stage black. Ready red. 3, 2, 1. Roll track take.
After some time away, TORC, the Off-Road Championship, thunders back into Redbud, Michigan for a fan-fueled homecoming celebration. And just for the occasion, a custom-built track created specifically for the dirt-clawing raw horsepower of the TORC trucks. For the hardcore fans of Redbud, the screaming motors are a symphony to the ears. The flying dust and rocks become a celebratory confetti, as these off-road devotees have waited years for the return of TORC's fire-breathing behemoths and are anxiously awaiting the green flag. Last time in Round 8 at Bark River, Cody Kleiman set his own trophy on the family mantle, winning his first ever Pro Light race and closing the gap on brother Kyle for the series points lead. Luke Johnson found the sweet clean air for the final last laps, claiming his second trophy of the season and creating momentum for the Pro 2 Championship. CJ Greaves climbed to the top step in commanding style and is now tied in the title points with dirt legend dad Johnny. But there can only be one Pro 4 champion. We're through the halfway point of the TORC season, and it's time to put up or shut up. Loose talk and false bravado does not a podium make. Statements are made loud and clear on the only place that matters, the surreal, chaotic mayhem of the short course dirt track. Get ready, we're just moments away from the Rumble at Redbud. In motocross, the words Redbud are synonymous with having a great time. But here today, these drivers are about to have a difficult time with this specially built race course. Welcome to Redbud, stop number 9 of TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. Hi everyone, welcome to the Rumble at Redbud. I'm Robbie Floyd, joined by the man who's won here in motocross as well as TORC Trucks, Ricky Johnson.
Redbud!
And it's all about having a great time on a difficult race course. And typically in TORC, we see high speeds. Guys just trying to keep the guy behind them from passing them. But here at Redbud, it's a different story. We're going to be talking about braking bumps today, Ricky.
Absolutely. And I started a hashtag, Make Off-Road Rough Again. And typically we're seeing almost a rallycross style driving when it comes to the tracks. Don't get me wrong, that's awesome. You lay down the horsepower, you slide side by side. But here at Redbud, the dirt is the complete game changer. Here we have hard slick, we have sand, we have uphill, we have downhill. As it deteriorates, it's going to create more passing.
Many say it's a driver's track, and a guy who's raced here in motocross, he's also raced here in TORC, is Johnny Greaves, and he's caught up with the third member of our broadcast team, Kate Osborne.
One of the only guys who's raced here in both moto and trucks. Johnny Greaves, now what was your initial reaction walking back into Redbud, as you've definitely had some memories here in the past?
Oh, I'm always so excited to be coming to Redbud. You know, I was coming here as an amateur in motocross. I came here in my pro days in motocross, you know, and so this is a place to be, especially now that we got trucks coming here.
Yeah, it's trucks, but it's a different track than what we've seen before. Talk us through this one, because it is quite a bit different.
Yeah, they built this a standalone track. We're not using the motor track anymore. We got a little Larocco's Leap going on. We got a downhill, a sand pit, all the cool stuff. So
Johnny Greaves right now tied in points with his son, CJ Greaves, in Pro 4.
Thanks, Kate. It's going to be an exciting day as you see the fans come out here on the hill. It's not like 4th of July weekend, but they're going to build on that. It's been 3 years since we've been here. 2013 was the last time that TORC Trucks have been here at Redbud. It's my first time here in person. I've called races here in the past for motocross, and I love this facility, and it's amazing. Round 9, round 10, that's the only time we'll see the trucks racing on this course.
Exactly, and there's rumors that they're going to build a complete standalone track, but that's still in the works. I love the Ritchie family has been so dedicated to motocross over the years. I used to come back here. I started all the way back in 1981. Fortunate or unfortunate for me, my birthday's on July 6th, so I was here every 4th of July racing at Redbud, hot, humid, but it has always been a racer's track, as you said in the stand-up, that you have to be strong, and you're going to have to be strong today.
And the dirt, you look at it, I mean, it's thick. In places, it's super thick, but great dirt. And it could be a difficult time for some of these guys, including CJ Greaves. And why do you say it's going to be difficult for him when he's won 7 out of 7 races this year? Well, he's in a normally aspirated Yamaha, and there's one section of this track that he likes to call Horsepower Hill, and he feels like he may be hurting a little bit compared to the turbo UTVs. He thinks they might be able to pull him on that straight.
Well, absolutely. The turbo is going to give you the top end that you're looking for, but it doesn't give you the drivability down low, and that's where I think CJ, as it gets rough, he's going to start making time on the exit of the corners.
As the Yamaha Pace vehicle leads all of the UTVs out, and you talk about that, RJ, there's 2 sides to every story. You have the turns, you have the straightaways, but the big question will be, horsepower-wise, in all the trucks, is you never want to see anybody pulling away from you. But for every uphill, there's also a downhill.
Exactly. And remember the game Ivan Stewart off-road game, and I always went for the turbo because I like to jump stuff, but you had to add suspension to it, you had to add a lot of that stuff, and so I've seen a lot of the drivers adjusting their suspension because it changes so much. Just like Johnny Greaves said, we have big step-ups, we have big downhills, we have sand pit, the track is going to get rougher and rougher, so it's a complete game that you have to have when it comes to winning here at Red Bud.
As you see that Yamaha Pace vehicle leading 19, just under 20 racers, and going 2 and 3 wide up there at times, just trying to get a good look and seeing what's ahead. That first lap, that first time, and one thing we noticed leading into today is you've got to be pinned coming up that hill, and these UTVs don't necessarily make the downside, so you've got to find that happy place of where you want to put that UTV.
Yeah, and it's all about the run coming off the corner. So if you have to set up for that jump about 300 feet back. Yeah. So it's not a matter of like an Evel Knievel gets set and pull the trigger and go. You have to work that because it's a big Talladega turn with a lot of sand whoops, so it's going to be easier at the beginning to clear it, but as it gets rougher and rougher and it slows those guys down through the middle, it's going to be hard to get up on top.
Well, you see the Pace vehicle pull off, so it looks like this will be their half of sight lap that they get. CJ Greaves in second, Zach Martin, you got Enlow, Lunderby, Waz pointing all up there in those first couple of rows. A 10-lap race for the Pro Stock and Pro Mod UTVs. Green means go, and it's a good jump by Zach Martin out in front with a 918. Now he's got inside position. Actually, I don't even know that. Yep, that should be him.
Yep, CJ Greaves in second. Got pushed a little bit wide through that section. Now this goes off camera. Notice, Robbie, right there, how they're leaning hard to the left. They go through a rhythm section. As they come over, they're going into the rough sand section. Right now, really smooth, really nice, but you can see how much rouge is coming in under braking. It is going to get mega rough throughout the day.
Zach Martin in the lead right now, sits second in points, quite a bit behind CJ. He's got a couple of second-place finishes. All of his races this year have been in the top 5. But CJ Greaves has been the cream of the crop as far as this particular class.
Well, and CJ Greaves is the driver, man. I mean, he's won in Pro Light, he's won in Pro 2, won in Pro 4. He flies in these UTVs as well. So he is a complete package when it comes to this. And where I think his strong point is going to be the second half of the race where he's good at reading lines. Here we see him looking underneath Zachary, but still Zachary pulls him down the hill.
And when I mentioned earlier, and I don't want to confuse the classes, this is the stock UTV class. If you're in a turbo, you cannot race in the stock class. We'll see those in the next race up the Pro Mod UTV. So I was kind of getting ahead of myself just a little bit. A lot of Yamahas up in front of this and doing a good job right now out of Cochran, Georgia. Zach Martin, SOB Built Motorsports, Victor Lane, Crash Off-Road. Maxxis tire entry for both first and second. Well, actually, pretty much most of the field. Every race in the UTV has been won by Maxxis this year.
CJ Greaves looking to the inside, looking to the outside, trying to find places where he can set up the pass, because this is going to be a track, I feel, Robbie, that either you have to capitalize when someone makes a mistake, so you have to be ready at all times, but also you have to plan your pass 2 and 3 moves ahead. For instance, coming out of this start turn, you got to make sure you get a good run through Talladega to get a good run going up the step up. So you got to make sure that you're planning ahead.
Yeah, I talked about them not making the downside. We'll look at it right there. Just on top, almost for CJ, but look at here. They're getting a little farther. We had some sportsman competition earlier. They're jumping much farther than the buggies were.
Yeah, they are. And what you can't see going over the top of that, there's a crown on that hill, and it's off camber. So Keegan Kincaid and a bunch of other guys really like that, because you throw it sideways, and it almost feels like it gets neutral and flies in the air. It doesn't quite. The tires are on the ground, but you lose a lot of the G-force when it comes to around the corner.
Now you're seeing the racer side of CJ Greaves taking a little bit different line.
Went outside, stayed outside, tried to run that cushion. Now he's going to square it up and go to the inside move. That's what a racer does. He knows he has somebody that's not too close behind. You can take those chances. If somebody's all in your business behind, you can't go wide. You're going to get past.
Well, and also CJ knows that the Zachary hard down into the sand pit. CJ looking to the inside, can he pull it off? But he also, as once again, what finished my thought is CJ wants to remember or wants his spotter to let him know that he's there. So he's looking inside, looking outside to get a driver confused and wondering where he's at, and that's when you can try to pounce on him.
Blake Enlow in third, Jake Lunderby in fourth. Lunderby started back there in that spot. Point Reek, Kenny Mash in seventh. Mash is a guy to look for. I'm thinking Mash started back in 13th. He's already up into seventh. He's been on the move. Also, Laurie has really moved up a lot. The 952, if my scoring's correct, he's the one that's made the move. As we talk about moves, CJ now going to the inside here, but he's going to be on the outside the next turn.
Yeah, we're looking, he's doing the same thing, starting high, exiting low. So watch, he's going to come around the outside, try to position himself, get a good run, and that will put him on the inside going into this final turn where he's been shooting outside every time. So now he looks for up the inside. He says, nope, going back to the outside.
Aggressive moves. I love the racecraft going on between both of these drivers and the spotters for that matter.
But that's one of the great things about these UTVs is they're so light, all-wheel drive, so much horsepower, you can change your line halfway through. It is always faster to continue with what you got, but you can see CJ's not committing to any one line.
Spread out now first, second, and third. All of the race vehicles starting with a 9 in their number. Martin still leads Greaves just by about a UTV and a half length. Enlow, Lunderby, Point. But Kenny Mash, I talked about him being back in seventh just off picture. One thing we haven't talked about is the competition caution. Halfway through this race, we're going to re-rack and restack. And Mash has had a mashed up vehicle, and now he's got the front end back on that. So I think he'll be a guy to look for, and he's a moto guy just like these guys are as well.
Well, and what I love seeing what Martin's doing is that he's not trying to cut CJ off. He's running his line. He's making it a very wide UTV. He runs right in the middle on the entry, and CJ's got to choose one side or the other. Now CJ's got to run on the outside. Look for him to dive underneath him on the middle of the corner, like right here, turn in really hard. But now Martin just holds the inside, and that just ruins CJ's line.
And because there's good enough grip underneath without bogging that engine down, CJ's going a little bit longer route, and it's hard to make up that distance.
Yeah, and this is where I would like to see us get rid of spotters. I know we want to keep spotters for safety and stuff like that, but I like it when, in motocross where they can't tell you if he's looking inside or looking outside. You have to pick your line, and that guy can come after you. So right there, I'm not saying Martin was doing anything wrong, but he used his spotter very, very well.
Yeah, you know what, honestly, I haven't even really thought about that much. How many times have you used a spotter in motocross? The answer is none.
Take it back, in 1987, Kawasaki had radios, and they ran them for a little while. Legally, they had them, then they outlawed them. But we also ran them in 1987 in motocross and Trophy of the Nations with Jeff Ward and Ron Lachine. So it was pretty cool because they could let me know when I was in trophy condition because I started in the back.
So you didn't look at your pit boards, is what you were saying? You listened a lot better?
I did, but my mechanics kind of screamed at me, so I just pass who's ever in front of me, leave who's ever behind me. But back to Zach Martin is actually pulling on him a little bit, and now we see the competition yellow.
And save your machine, too, if you're out there in your CJ Greaves. If you're not going to make that pass, no use running it in unless you can take over that position. So unofficially, and again, everything I say is officially unofficial. Martin, Greaves, Enlow still 1, 2, and 3. Lunderby, Point, and Reek, Mash, Luberg, Lohman. Up there, it looks actually like Luberg in 8th spot. The 995 able to work into 9th, and Carmody in 10th. All right, as they'll set up nose to tail, Ricky, I think we've got Kate Osborne down there at trackside. They're going to start over and get ready for the second half of this race.
Well, I'm not only down here by myself. There's all these other UTV drivers down here. Rodney Van Emperen just said of CJ Greaves, he thinks he's buying time. He thinks this is a track that is very easy to make a mistake, and CJ right now isn't going to make a mistake. He's going to wait and see that Zach Martin does.
Thanks, Kate. And yeah, the other Enlow back in 9th is Ben Enlow, not Brian. Blake, excuse me. Blake's up there in the top 3. All right, I see you getting your pointer out there, Ricky. What are you looking at? What are you trying to focus on?
Very interesting. Top 7 are all Yamahas, and so that for those that don't know, the Yamahas have a sequential box, so you can shift it like almost like an F1 car. You still have to let off, and it doesn't have shift interrupt. But with this stock class, you can keep the RPMs where you want. Where with the Polaris and the Can-Ams, they have a situation where it's a centrifugal clutch and it wants to pull off. So on the shorter, tighter tracks, the Can-Ams and the Polaris work a little bit better. But here on these long tracks, you can see how dominant the Yamahas are.
Jason Luberg on that Bikeman Performance Polaris, the first non-Yamaha. Luberg back in 8th place unofficially. So you see the Yamaha vehicle. You also see where our compound is for the TV viewers down there. Everybody, TORCseries.com. Welcome to Redbud, or Redbud, as RJ likes to call it, and everybody else here.
Lip stuck to my teeth. I look like Fire Marshal Bill when we did that opening.
Looks good. All right, any predictions second half of this race? Because we're seeing, as Rodney Van Epper said, that CJ was biding his time. Will he try and jump out in front and check out?
I think he's going to try to make an aggressive move quick. But he also knows that those two, Martin and him, were pulling away from everybody. So I could be contradicted here and have him stay with him, stay with him a lap or two and then make his move. But CJ wants to get clean air as quick as possible.
All right, so setting the pace, you see those two little banners right there is the entrance to the acceleration zone. And Martin going really deep into that. I mean, he went all the way to the end, and then it was CJ time. Yeah, CJ can get all up into the back of it.
CJ was running pretty much a protective line because that's what he didn't want to have happen. Back there at 3rd and 4th, Luberg and
it's like Jake Lunderby getting stopped for a bit.
Yep, Jake Lunderby getting bounced around a little bit, but now we got a little bit of separation. We'll see if CJ can do his work, but I really got to take my hat off to Martin, who's doing a great job when it comes to holding his line. He's not blocking.
He's not left and right down the straightaway.
He's running a fast line.
It looks like a fairly tight line, too, for these UTVs. And you'll see the mods coming up in just a bit. There's CJ on the inside trying to go for a little shorter distance.
And when you saw Martin get hit into the berm and it bounced, that's what's going to make the difference, is who doesn't make those mistakes. And there really wasn't a mistake, but it just the track bit him and took a little momentum away.
And Jeff Nordstrom, who's built this track, I know you've had his words, and CJ going to the inside, that was a mistake by Martin, no doubt. And CJ's trying to take advantage of it. He's not even with them, but he's on that outside, one of the deepest runs, and Martin goes wider than he's ran the whole time, and CJ's in a pretty good spot for him to do that because he can still cut underneath.
Right, so we'll see if Martin holds his line or if he comes down and holds the inside. If CJ has a shot, this is where he's going to make it. But no, Martin holds the inside, and he's trying to force CJ the long way around, and CJ really has nowhere to go, so he has to wait for Martin to make a mistake.
And this track will build braking bumps. I mean, usually downhills coming into turns, you'll see it especially right here. This should be, as long as they don't touch it much throughout the day, should be the roughest. And there you go. You see pushed into that fluff and gets in the deep stuff. And I don't care what vehicle you're in the deep stuff here, it's deep.
Well, when you're in the capper seat, here we see that they have a local yellow pulling one of those cars off. The guy's got to slow down, no roost in the safety crew, and back underway.
CJ trying to get underneath. I think it was a little bit of surprise to them. I thought they would have it out of the way a tad bit quicker, but 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hey, Jake Lunderby's back there in 4th going, I see you saying there's a chance. Lunderby in the yellow Yamaha, just in front of him, Blake Inlow. CJ squared up a little to the inside again. He can pull up close with his front tires, even with Martin's back tires, but just can't get any farther. Again, wide line by CJ. Now he's going to try and drive all the way around this time and not going to do it. It's a guessing game, but there goes Lunderby. Lunderby in the yellow, and will Lunderby be able to pull into 3rd?
Well, but he's in a spot right now that he's going to have to shoot out wide and shoot back to the inside. We'll see if it gets done right there as he shoots high, shoots low. Lunderby has the spot, and hopefully he can carry that momentum on down. This gets really tight down here.
And that's the most side-by-side we've seen, and that'll kind of get Inlow where he wants to just outbreak him. And this is a race for 3rd. Lunderby gets a little sideways. Oh, so does Inlow. Now that opens the door. And we also have Greaves going to the inside for the lead. Out in front, it's still Zach Martin on the red machine, orange Yamaha. CJ drives to the outside, but what does that mean?
Puts him on the inside.
That's exactly right. The Monster Energy 933 takes over the lead 7 laps into this 10-lap race.
CJ with a great move, he was able to work his way through in the sandpit, get in the right position, but now we see Martin is going to look back to the inside, see if he can learn something from CJ.
And now he takes that line for the first time in a long time, because that's the line that CJ was wanting to do. Martin can maybe take advantage of it. CJ hasn't got to ride some of the, or drive some of these inside lines.
Well, what you can't see from this high angle is they have small fingers down there to try to get the drivers to push them to the outside. And Martin looked down there, but it takes away a little bit. As you watch it come through here, there's a little finger right there as they go through the corner to encourage them to go out a little bit. But Martin doing a great job in showing that it wasn't a fluke that he was out in front.
I looked over at you and you said they had small fingers. I'm like, what you talking about, Willis? You're talking about these little dirt sections that rip out across the track.
I'm not talking about little CJ's
Now look down
hands.
at these turns to have little small fingers. I'm like, what are you talking about, Ricky Johnson? But yeah, at these turns, it's harder to see on camera, but they can definitely feel it in the seat. CJ getting up on two wheels for just a moment.
Yeah, CJ on the bike, and he's so comfortable when he gets up on the bicycle. That's, you watch, he doesn't panic, rolls off the gas a little bit, turns in a little bit, and then reapplies, and he'll ride it for a while. And I've been up there in that situation, and you want to get down as quick as possible, but you don't want to stop.
CJ Greaves leads it now on that Monster Energy Yamalude Maxxis. Graves Motorsports, 933. The brother or the sister car back there in third as well. CJ's the one I think that takes care of Jake Lunderby's ride throughout the week and preps it, getting it ready for the race. I think that's what Johnny's told me. He's back there in third as well. All these Yamahas up front are strong, and Luberg's still back there in eighth, the first non-Yamaha. We're on the last lap of the Pro Stock UTV class, and it's been led by Zach Martin for 3/4 of the race, but the last quarter has been led by CJ Greaves.
CJ, and he's not running away from that. That just shows you how evenly these vehicles are prepared, and both of them are driving them right on the edge. But CJ, who has more seat time and more racing experience, is just making it shine a little bit better here the last couple laps.
Getting word from his spotter also, when you see him swing wide like that, he has the opportunity to do so because he knows that Martin can't run it in on him in that particular section. Martin's still doing it. I mean, he's still trying to rail those outside turns, trying to build momentum. What if he lands downside? Then they would really shoot him and he can land downside again.
Well, and Martin was typically making time coming up the hill, but you saw that the CJ had to run on him, but Martin was able to close up the gap. So now we're going to the last turn. We see Martin shoot off, looking down the right side. That's going to put him on the inside. Is he going to go for the slide job?
As we see Greaves going to the inside, pushing wide. Martin's going to go to the inside. It's going to be a drag race up to the finish. CJ with a good drive, and it's going to be CJ Greaves by about a half a UTV length, and Martin had to be going, you done screwed up. I thought he might have been in the lead for a split second there, but Greaves takes the win over Martin. Lunderby. He's going to round out the top three, and we'll hear from our podium finishers here when we return to Redbud, stop number 9 of TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Beautiful day. Take a look at my thermometer here that I've got on my phone at TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. Looks like temps around the 60s, 70s throughout this weekend. High, I believe, at 75. You can't ask for much better racing weather than that here at one of the premier off-road facilities in the world, whether it be motocross and now TORC truck.
Well, and we don't have the sunshine. You can see the clouds in the background. As you said, God is smiling on the TORC Series this weekend, and the the guys are able to get the water into the ground, and the clouds is keeping the sun off it, so it's not getting quite so blue-groove.
Yeah, just a small chance of rain. We do see a few clouds, puffy clouds building up, but just a small chance. But that's all right. We just call that Mother Nature's little water truck. They do have the best water truck I've ever seen, though, right here at Redbud. Ritchie family puts a lot of money, time, and effort into their equipment. See the fans coming out for the first time, and they got to see a good one in the Pro Stock UTVs. Let's send it down to the winner, who's with Kate Osborne. CJ Greaves, perfect, still on the season, Kate.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You know, CJ, you had to work for that first place. That was one that didn't come easy at all. How much do you think your experience in the UTV paid off there?
You know, I don't think the experience in the UTV paid off as much as it did in running Pro 2s and Pro 4s and everything else. So, I mean, it was a hard battle. Zach was freaking flying today, and it came down to one mistake. That's all it took, and I knew I just needed to keep the pressure on and wait for that one mistake, and it was like we were almost the exact same speed. It all depended on how your line in was, on how good of a run you'd get out, and vice versa. So we were trying to do a few different lines, but the track was pretty one line with how rough it got down on this end, but the other end, the inside was definitely working good. So we worked with what we had. We kept the pressure on. He made one little mistake, and we were able to capitalize, so that's all we can ask for. Can't thank all the guys from Yamaha, Monster Energy, Method Race Wheels, Fox Shocks, Yamalube, Method, Maxxis, everyone that helps us out. We appreciate it. We're going to keep moving forward. We got a little work to do on this thing tonight and see if we can find a little bit more speed for tomorrow. But he gave us one heck of a race, and I hope you guys all enjoy it.
A lot of good takeaways for CJ Greaves as he's heading into Pro 4.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that. Pro 4, heck, what about the Pro Mods? He's about to hop out and get back in that one. CJ Greaves leads this, the unofficial results, ahead of Martin and Lunderby. Zach Martin, the Georgian, a strong run. Best run we've seen all year, and he's had many strong runs. She's caught up with Mr. Martin.
A strong run for Zach Martin. That was really incredible. Battling it out with CJ there. He had a little something on you. You knew it was a mistake. What could you have done differently?
You don't make mistakes. I mean, when you're racing against class acts like that, you get one shot and one mistake, and that was it. So did best we could.
Another podium for Zach Martin, though.
That's right, Kate, and you see Zach Martin. I mean, the last 5 races, I mean, he's finished second, third, fourth, and second. So he's had a strong finish, but that still has him in second place, 37 markers behind CJ Greaves.
And, you know, you can see the look on his face. He's like, damn it.
I can't do this.
I lost again. Second place sucks.
Jake Lunderby, though, he's probably happy with third place. He moved his way up, and it's a lot better than that 20th place finish back in Bark River. But, you know, he's been on a roll with back-to-back podium finishes lately, Kate.
Yeah, you know, I think, Robbie, you're right. I think he is pretty happy with another podium. You said that it was rough out there. How would you describe the track beyond that?
It was fun. I mean, you got to drive smart. There was a lot of holes, and a little mistake and could lose a lot of ground. And it was fun. We got hung up in a little bit at the beginning and made our way forward, but it was fun. I couldn't thank everybody enough that helped me out. Yamalube, Yamaha, Maxxis Tires, Method Race Wheels, Luke from Beyond Redline, and the Greaves team and family, they helped me out a lot. Monster Energy, it's great to have all their support.
You know, Jake, one of the things that we joked about in the pits there is there was potentially some rabbit's feet there in your glove box. Is that true?
They said they put one in there at Bark River, and before the race, they were on the radio asking if I found it yet, and I haven't found it yet. So whether there is one or not, I don't know.
By the way, guys, that is a real rabbit's foot, not actually a fake one.
I've done that before to a buddy. Dr. Rob Schroeder put it in his golf bag last year on our guys' trips. I know all about that. Hey, we got Pro Mods coming up. Something we haven't seen before is CJ Greaves in a Pro Mod. He's signed up. Will he show up? They're coming up next.
Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Got the kiddie playland in the background. You don't playground to the left. A lot of fans kicking back in the seats here at Red Bud International Off-Road Raceway. Is that what they're officially calling it now? That's the first time I see that. I'm so used to seeing back in the day Red Bud Track and Trail. The Red Bud Trail, the road that leads into this place, just off into the distance there. Nice little smooth drive down the river. I wanted to get in a boat. You go fishing with me later this afternoon, maybe, Ricky?
Absolutely. Want to go fishing?
I'll go fishing. I mean, between our broken wrists, between us, I mean, bass fishing could be a little bit rough, but I think we get it. It is an excellent facility. We'd like to welcome everybody here to Red Bud, and I'd like to welcome you inside our booth here. This is, how did you start off the show? What was the one thing you did?
Red Bud!
Yeah, that is just something that it never gets old.
It does get old. It's going to get old. Let me just tell you that much. But it's awesome to be here because I just love how – a lot of things have evolved, and this place has evolved. When I used to come back here in the 80s, way back when they used gunpowder for flashes and cameras and stuff like that. Everything has evolved just for the spectators, for the racers, and how they've looked around, because it used to be all hard pack and blue groove and rocks and stuff, and they had potato pickers that picked the rocks off, and they found a spot right here that we're working on. They opened it up and they found sand, and they hauled that over to the motocross track. So the Ritchie family's dedicated for decades, and they're dedicated here in TORC as well.
Yeah, and literally for those of the Red Bud fans that have seen it on TV or been here in person, we're just to the side of the motocross track. I got to see LaRocco's leap over to my right for the first time, a big jump here. So
did you leap it?
Would I?
Yeah. How much money?
I would do it, but they'd have to open up the fence down there at the bottom.
How much?
$100.
$100? Ooh, not me.
You would jump it.
50 grand. 50 grand cash.
I do it for $100.
I'll give it a try if I have a 500.
But bring out your cameras if I do go to. I wouldn't make it.
I want some big pillows at the end.
Yeah, they would definitely have to get out. And speaking of money, and $250, that's what it would take, because you'd have to be a bad mofo to do it. In our Vision Wheels Bad Mofo Award, we'll talk about that. Somebody will decide. See our Rumble at Red Bud. It's our
you keep saying Red Bud.
Red Bud. I don't know. We've been up here so close to Canada.
We're close to Canada, so we're Red Bud.
The Canadians say. But $250 will go to the winner who has that special moment, that special move. Maybe they were a hard charger. Maybe they crashed, got back into it. We've seen that, a time or two. But $250 in this beautiful wallet that they make for each and every stop. This is stop number 9 of TORC. And you see the bad mofo. So at the end of the race, we will award this to someone here at Red Bud.
There we go.
Who will it be? The very first winner was your son, Luke Johnson.
Yep.
We have not had a repeat winner for 2017.
No. And we've seen some. It's always something different. There's been, for Bark River, there was a couple guys that one guy dominated, one guy had his first win, Sean Morris had his 27th rollover in the same truck. So he was close, and he thought that he won it.
27 rollovers in 27, right?
Number 27. So hopefully, Sean, don't go for 28,
yeah.
All right? 28's not going to get you the wallet. It might get you the wallet, but just go win.
Yeah.
Go win and be that bad little leprechaun that you are, and walk away with all this dough.
Do it.
You could do it.
Do it. Our RJ, as they're getting ready for the Pro Mod UTVs coming up here in just a moment, CJ Greaves, I said, you going to do the mods? He goes, well, I don't know why I wouldn't. I said, well, maybe fatigue. Maybe you get tired. He just looked at me like, nah.
He ain't going to get tired. He's young. He's a young buck. And he rides moto to stay in shape. So let me just tell you, if you can ride motocross, you can do motos, which he probably goes out. I'm going to challenge CJ. Maybe he does 20-minuters on long day. More than likely, 5 laps of fury. Goes out on a practice track, rips it up, comes in, checks the setting on it because you start to hold your breath and stuff like that. But I do know that he's very committed to the craft, and these cars are not going to get him tired after you grow up racing motocross.
We've got a lot of stuff ahead of us as far as racing is concerned today, but a lot of things the fans haven't seen, a lot of racers that the fans really don't know about. But we've got a new presentation coming out soon, and we'll talk more about that, and you'll get to see it during today's show. It's called Young Guns, and it really focuses on the young guns of TORC, the Off-Road Championship. So take a look at this little piece, and I think we've got good things ahead.
A new generation is rising, an inevitable force primed to lay claim to what is theirs. This is Young Guns.
There's a new generation ahead, Ricky Johnson. Not like the old farts, like
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah, the old farts in the in the announcer's booth. You know what? That's what's got to happen, and this is what I love so much about this sport. It's a lot of second generations. You know,
Yeah.
if you look at Kincaid, you look at Luke, you look at CJ, you look at a lot of these guys. And then you got the guys that are making the transition, the Cam Reimers that was in motocross, and then he went to quads, and now here, and it's such an emotional roller coaster. For one, to find sponsorship, two, to build the truck and to have it going and doing all this different stuff. And you see that these guys, these young guns that we have out there, you know, most of them are under 25 years old, is that they work on the cars. You know, they have to go out there, and that's where, for myself, you know, I kind of came with sponsors and my helmet bag, and that's the way I left too. I didn't have the equity in the business. And I said, look, if you want to continue to do this, you need to be more like a Scott Douglas and a Johnny Greaves and build your business. And that's what he's been trying to do. And he went through fab school, so he learned how to build the cars, work on the cars, works closely with Charlie from ATD, Billy Sleeper from Pro Power, Keith Stamper, who fabricates the chassis and stuff like that, and also the people from Fox. So he's trying to be more involved and be more than just a nut behind the wheel, because that's what I was.
And you're seeing that out of Keegan Kincaid, too. I mean, good buddies, and they're racing up, and he's now into Pro 4s, but they were building the truck with his dad, a second, you know, Jeff Kincaid, a champion at TORC. So, yeah, you're seeing that a lot. I saw the Klymans in there as well. Dad just told me earlier when I was asking what happened to their truck earlier today in qualifying, and he's like, I'm looking to get back in a truck. Because I said, what's your plan for next year? You know, he's got two guys.
Maybe we should start a vet class.
Yeah. That'd be good. Now, Loretta Lynn's, there's a lot of people griping about old pros in the vet class. But, you know, but yeah, maybe. But, I mean, you're right. And there's guys that came out of nowhere that, you know, that their sons wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And they're putting their money, you know, where their son's mouth is.
Well,
and that's not cheap, mind you. But
no.
But their kids have to be in at full tilt, too, and you're seeing that.
Well, and then also on the other side, you see Andrew Carlson, who is a snowmobile racer. His father's dedicated to the sport, not just, you know, with what he builds when it comes to manufacturing for side-by-sides and all the different stuff. But they have the snowcross track there, they have the motocross track there, they have the mini bike track there, and now they have at ERX, one of the premier short course tracks as well. But what's great is that the involvement that you have. You see the family. When you go up to, I love going up to the Kincaid's house, and I see Mrs. Kincaid, Jeff's wife, out there. She's spraying off body panels. Jeff's in there organizing stuff. Keegan's doing his thing. Keegan's wife's doing this thing. Keegan's, you know, the grandkids are doing stuff. Everybody gets involved, which it's not like that in every sport.
No.
You know?
And I want to point out, too, I'm a father, so I say dads, but for the moms as well. I mean, they're back there, you know, helping the entire time.
Yeah, and so I'm looking forward to this, because we have some unbelievable young guns, and I really think that you're going to see hopefully not too much of the other driving sports come and take our young guns away, but I want to see this sport thrive, and so keep your eye out for young guns. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yep, I do believe in it, and it's going to be a series and several different ones that'll start airing pretty soon, and we'll get you the information on that, and it'll last throughout October. So we'll let you know on where you can watch that, and again, it'll be, you know, several different parts and get a little more in-depth of what these guys and the whole operation around them are all about. So I was wondering, as we were preparing or wondering what we were doing, because I was begging for Jeff Nordstrom not to really touch the track. I'm seeing just after the UTVs, number one, they are touching the track. That a piece of equipment right there is pretty darn cool.
That's awesome.
It looks like it's just a scraper, but it's like a little rototiller in front of a Bobcat.
So what it does, aerates the dirt, kind of whips it up and stuff like that. So it makes it to where the dirt is not so slick. You get these really bad blue groove tracks, and here you can see what's great is that they're working the dirt back and forth. And I said it, and I'm going to stand by it, the best Bark River track was the last race of the weekend. Normally that's the worst track, but as you can see, as they blade the dirt back and forth, they water it, then they peel the dirt up, then it gets wet, and it goes back and forth. The track sort of gets seasoned. it gets a little bit better. It's kind of like the spaghetti that you have one night, you let it sit, and the next day it tastes better.
Like
exactly.
the microwave pizza the next day.
Fat kid problems in the booth here. We're talking pizza and spaghetti.
Hand me a cocktail, Ricky. There's a power rake. I think that's the official word on there. You see the Michigan Cat equipment as well doing that. So you got a big blade pushing it around. No fingers in that particular turn, but I did see the fingers earlier, and that's one thing with that Bobcat in the turn that did have the fingers. They're able to go up and down. I like it. I'd say keep it in the low spots. Go ahead and dig it down, bring it back to the top. Make those fingers on the inside. Opens up that inside to somebody because nobody really wants to hit those little fingers.
You want some Anthony Robbins banana hand fingers. You want some big fat fingers.
Yeah, I do.
After.
I do. We saw them at Chicago before on inside of a turn. I want to open up that inside so the racing line people say, I don't really want to go there, but it opens up the opportunity for somebody
to go there,
making that line to go in there.
And that was the thing, is that what happened when Martin just missed the line a little bit? It let CJ get to the inside, get a run, which put him on the outside of turn 1, but then put him back on the inside of turn 2. So using the track to your advantage and as the track changes is going to be the key here at Redbud.
Helicopters. Get your helicopter rides right here at Redbud, and you can also tell everybody about it on social media, as I thought we were going to KDOS, but we're not. We're coming back on board here, and Ricky, you've got a presence. There we go. There we go. I don't know how much they pay, but it's a pretty cool helicopter ride around this facility. $35, $40. Let's go to Kate Osborne. Kate Osborne, are you anywhere near that helicopter?
I am near the helicopter, and I've already said a couple of times today that I think I want to go up in it, but one thing I want to note is it's starting to be a little bit windy. So if you're going up in that helicopter, I look forward to seeing the videos and pictures that you guys post on social media using hashtag TORC17. We're keeping you up to date with all things social media here from Redbud, and I'm telling you what, there's a lot of great content that we're not able to put on the show, a lot of great pictures. Share them. I mean, there's some jumps that these trucks are doing that the guys are taking magnificent pictures. So make sure we pass those around, let people know how great TORC is. And by the way, if you have any questions, especially for Ricky and Robbie, I do actually in just a moment, guys, use hashtag AskTORC, and we can get those questions answered for you. I just want to know, guys, as the wind is picking up out here, how will that affect the track? And by the way, we felt some raindrops earlier. I know not to use the word rain, but using the word rain.
Nature's a little water truck. Nature's a little water truck. Hey, and your hair looks on point too, even with it being windy. I want to tell you that.
I'm chewing on my hair right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is good. And
thanks, guys.
So to answer the question,
rain's not a problem if they're throwing water on it now, right?
Right. Well, here's what's going to happen is that it's going to help it's not going to make the sand too bad because that takes a lot of rain. But what it's going to do is going to make the drivers have to really project their turns. They have to brake early and really be smooth on the gas coming off the corner because the wheel spin is going to be unbelievable. And the guys are running, I think, already a pretty aggressive groove on the tire, so I don't think you're going to see a tire change, suspension change. Guys are just going to stack on more tear-offs. I know some of the guys are running up to 30 already, and just drive and look for traction.
Looking at that water truck as he makes his way around there, they're really smoothing out this of our last of the small wheelbase machines. Trying to give those mod guys a little bit of a chance. It's when you have wet conditions and uphills and and you're starving for horsepower on some of these things, it can make it a little bit more difficult for these guys. You see the pro mods lined up behind our Yamaha Pace vehicle, and I think we're going to step aside for just a little bit. The rain's surely going to hold off. It just might be breezy for a little bit, and if not, we've got a helicopter to dry it out. So we'll be back in just a minute. Ricky, stretch your legs. We've got some pro mod UTVs coming up next.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Mattitives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Mattitives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
Wonderful fans here at Redbud, Buchanan, Michigan, southern end, right not too far from Notre Dame University, about 30 minutes away. It's all about torque trucks here today, and one race in the books for our pros, and that would be the Pro Stock UTVs. Let's take a look back at how it went down on all 10 laps. Somebody had to win this thing. Would it be CJ Greaves, who is yet to lose? He would start on outside of pole. Zach Martin on the inside in that red Yamaha. Is it red or orange? How can we qualify this?
It's orange.
Right.
But Zach Martin with a great run. CJ Greaves looking inside, looking outside, but wasn't able to make it happen until he got towards the end. You can see him switching inside, switching outside, but then Zach Martin got smart and started protecting the inside, but he made one mistake.
There's the restart. Zach was out in front. There's the mistake. Got wide, got in that bluff one time, but it was the other time. There were only two, but it was the other time that he made that one move too wide, and then CJ able to take advantage.
CJ runs the outside to turn one. That puts him in the position for turn two, pushes him up a little bit, holds the line, and he holds it all the way to the checkered flag.
One last move by Martin. Look how close it was. It was a drag race up the hill, but the Graves power plant of the Greaves Motorsports driver, CJ, just a little bit too much. And, yep, Monster was number one for CJ there, but it was a good job. Ricky Johnson, Robbie Floyd, welcome inside our booth here at Redbud. And it came down to the end, and I like seeing Zach still fight and take that line. We saw CJ going back and forth all over the place. These guys really want to knock him off. I mean, when you're king of the castle, you're on top of that hill, everybody's trying to knock you off.
Yeah.
You like my Borat there?
No, I like the king of the castle with the hands. Very jazz hands. Yeah, going there. But CJ is very cool under fire. You know, you see him. I've seen him lose his temper a couple times. One time was when his dad Johnny pushed him out of the way. And that's really the only time we've seen him lose his temper a little bit. But he's a very cool operator when it comes behind the wheel. But we saw Zach Martin so disappointed and so dejected because you don't want to be the bridesmaid all the time. You want to be the bride. You want to win. And that's that feeling of second sucks, is because when you're there, you can taste it. He led the first half of the race. He was doing everything right, and he made one big mistake. It really wasn't a big mistake. He just bounced in the sand wash, moved him up a little bit. CJ was able to get position on him, and then that actually 2 turns later is when he finally pulled the pass off. So it was a great patience by CJ Greaves, but also Zach Martin, hold your head up. You did a great job. You did everything right. You just gave him a little bit, or maybe gave him a little bit too much room.
It's a quote that a lot of people don't like, and was it you or was it after you that the No Fear shirt came out when it was second place, his first loser?
Yeah, so I steal a lot of quotes from everybody. No Fear and Life's a Beach and all those guys, the Bad Boy Club, they had a whole bunch of sayings and stuff. But I did jump on the second sucks because I was getting beat by Robin Cochran and Johnny Greaves and as Scott Douglas and a few other guys, but I had some wins as well. So once you taste victory or you can see victory, it really just it burns deep down inside. You're almost better off to get a bad start, work your way from 10th to 3rd or 4th. But we saw Lunderby, he wasn't too happy either.
No.
Both everybody second, third, pretty dejected. But don't be, guys. You just fix what's wrong and you'll beat him. Don't try to do something miraculous because you don't need to. You're right there. Everything is really close. Just fix up those couple little things and you'll be on top of the box.
Well, speaking of second place sucks, second place has sucked for Kyle Cheney until the last round. He finally got his first race win of the season. He's the series points leader, and you see him lining up here in our Yamaha Pace vehicle, leading the field. Tim Farr is actually going to lead everyone with Zach Zakowski, Jason Luberg, Drew Schultz. But yeah, finally, Kyle Cheney, after 6 second-place finishes in a row, he takes the win at Mark River number 2. So Rodney Van Eperen still sits second in points, 14 points behind, but he has that one mechanical problem in Chicago that's costing him the championship, where he only finished in 16th place. You take that out of the equation, then he's up there. As you find your favorite driver up at the top of the screen, again, it looks like quite a few entrants into this. We're about to go green. The Yamaha Pace vehicles pulled off. Farr and Zakowski, 804, the 890 on that front row. There's the acceleration zone. It looks like that right lane's got a little bit more water laid down, but the left lane gets a good jump.
Well, by rules, you're supposed to stay in line, but you saw a lot of bumping and banging going on. And I talked to the officials, and I thought they were going to move that zone back a little bit, in my opinion, that it is too far. It's too far up the start line, and that sort of messes guys up. And you want to avoid this much traffic in turn 1, so hopefully they'll move that for the main events for the pros. But right now, right now what we're seeing is Farr with a very, very strong lead, and Zakowski he's got some work to do because he's got someone right on his tail.
And Tim Farr on the Can-Am. So we see the Can-Am out in front just like CJ Greaves. And speaking of that, that's CJ Greaves working his way up. He started in 6th that first time across the stripe. And now we're seeing it, the 891 driving in there. There's Cheney, your series points leader, on that outside. Kyle Cheney in the Can-Am, XBS OLCT Racing out of Palaskala. Oh, I don't even want to do that. Panaskala, Ohio. I got to ask you about that one. I went for an Alabama city and I forgot, oh, that's Ohio.
Well, you can see they laid a lot of water down, and that's really giving the guys some troubles, that they're having to use the cushion quite a bit. That even if you try to go down low, we see it happening, but it is not happening. The inside is not working yet.
And CJ Greaves, I see he's worked his way up into 5th spot, it looks like, behind the series champion from last year, Travis Pointer, and it looks like the 845 spin around. That's Rodney Van Epperen, the white Yamaha, back in 4th. He's trying to put the pressure on that 890 of Zakowski, and he's doing a good job at that.
Well, Van Epperen and Greaves are both teammates, so are they going to work together? Start a little shake and bake? Could happen.
You see him nose to tail right now, and CJ taking that underneath line. Van Epperen was a little closer to Zakowski until that turn, but oh, man, a little bit of a push. I think these mods look faster. Sometimes the stocks are quicker, but here on this track, these mods look quicker than the stock class.
Well, because it's so soft. The dirt's so soft and it's wet. They're not able to get the run. But you see a lot of the guys get downside. So right there, we see Luber getting a great run in that Can-Am in 2nd place. CJ Greaves and Ronnie Van Epperen going back and forth for that 4th position. But Luber is running really strong in the 2nd spot.
There's Zakowski. Front of your picture there, followed by Van Epperen and Greaves. That's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place is Schultz. Drew Schultz started in 4th. He's dropped back a couple in his Polaris. Another Bikeman entry, Crash Addicts, Fox Shocks. He's watching both of these guys run side to side. He's got to pick one and try and follow them. Good run. Zakowski gets past.
Zakowski loses a spot to Ronnie Van Epperen. Now he's got CJ Greaves to deal with. And now is Zakowski going to follow his lines and try to learn from it, or just does he feel he has a better, or is he going to start blocking? Because right now CJ Greaves is looking on the inside.
And CJ looks faster. That's a situation right there where CJ was faster, but on the inside having to brake a lot more than he would normally do in that particular moment.
Well, CJ Greaves and Ronnie Van Epperen are the two drivers. Now, as we watch, we try to see him land on the downside. Up front, it's a Can-Am out front. It's looking very, very strong. But I got to give it to Luberg. He seems to make a little more time when it comes to that tall jump coming up the hill. But Ronnie Van Epperen is closing up on him.
Can-Am, Polaris, Yamahas. But you're right, with Tim Farr, the JB Racing, Maxxis Can-Am. He's out in front now. We'll still have that competition caution after the 5th lap of this 10-lap race. The 804 of Tim Farr, and you look at it in points, he has that 1 win way back there in our 2nd round in Chicago. And the last 4 races, he's finished 3rd, 4th, and coming off that 2nd in the last round in Park River.
So as you watch the dirt, you can see how it's breaking away and it's got some rocks in it. But then when you come down to the slow section, you can see they've taken this whole strip out and it's all sandy down in the low spot. So a completely different style of tire is going to work in one versus the other. But I think everybody's leaning towards a more aggressive, loamy track tire than a hard pack tire.
It's a full lap that Zach Zakowski's held off CJ Greaves. So CJ might have been quicker. He can't find a way. Zach actually pulled out a little bit, maybe tried to close ground a little bit on Rodney Van Epperen and follow those lines like you talked about. Look how far Van Epperen jumped down that time.
But Schultz is really picking up, and now he's right up on the back, and he looks at the inside of CJ Greaves.
CJ trying to get by Zakowski, not able to do it.
Yeah, my bad. That was Greaves looking at Zakowski, but wasn't able to make it stick. Now CJ's got to have an advantage because he was just out there in the stock vehicle, so he knows how the dirt's changing, and that's one of the things that I remember back in the day trying to chase down David Bailey at Axton, Virginia. He knew the dirt so well. Here we see CJ looking to the outside. Can he make it stick? No.
And both you saw Zakowski with a little bit of a jab, you know, a little bang, bang like that. He's losing drive whenever he does that. But CJ just really couldn't get the drive himself on that tighter inside line. Big braking bumps here typically, and maybe later on in the race. I think that's where it's going to help CJ, is because as the race develops, it's more like the race that he just finished.
Right, but he's going to want to get up towards the front guy, so
no doubt.
he's not wanting to be back here because he can see that by the time he catches up, that he loses a little ground. He's not able to Ronnie Van Epperen's able to walk away from him.
And that is the first time we've seen CJ in the mod cart. That's his dad's UTV, and finally got it set up. Was missing a few things here and there, but it got it set up for the the back half of this season. Lap number 5 of 10. The competition caution should be coming out here soon after that 5th lap is complete. As you're looking at Rodney Van Eperen, the 845, he's moved up to 3rd. The caution has come out. Kate Osborne, you got more?
You know, out of all of the guys that were watching the race right before this, the stock race, Rodney Van Eperen actually stayed out while all the other drivers happened to be in the car. He was watching those lines. He was watching what CJ was doing, and it was interesting. As he was walking away, I said, "What'd you learn?" He goes, "I know I'm in the chase."
And he is, too. Van Eperen started back in 8th place, RJ. I didn't notice that on the start, but he went from 8th to 3rd. And he's been, just like CJ in stock, he's been the cream of the crop in the mods, even though he's not the points leader.
Exactly, but he's been right there, won a bunch of races, and in the last race, he had to run a stock motor, and he did a phenomenal job coming from last to the podium.
If he would have started in his typical position, he might have had a chance to win that race. And come to find out, there's a couple of guys that have been running stock. It might have been Tim Farr. I heard somebody said that they've been running stock motors throughout the season. But Rodney, evidently the top end of that Yamaha was fine. It was the bottom end that had the problem. So the part he was missing is evidently these the blanks on the cams are hard to come by lately. And a month has gone since then, and he still doesn't have them. Wow. CJ needs one. He still doesn't have them.
So I'm just curious to who's cutting, what aftermarket company is cutting those cams, and they better get on.
Blank?
So if you're building cams, if you're Crowder Cam or one of those cam companies, I think you should get in the business because there's a whole lot of Yamahas out there that are looking to build their mod cars.
Yeah, they've been waiting 2 months, is what I've heard, to get that. So, and that doesn't sound like a made in China kind of product that has taken a while to get here on a boat. That's something that could happen here. As you see, our Yamaha Pace vehicle leading Tim Farr, Jason Lundberg, Rodney Van Eperen 1, 2, and 3. Zach Zakowski in 4th, CJ Greaves in 5th, Schultz, Stover, Reiner, Burns, Gilliland up into the 10th spot.
Well, and behind the wheel of that pace car is the one and only, the shoe from Crandon, Richie Kuloff.
Oh, gosh. Is that what you call him? He's the Crandon shoe?
He is the Crandon shoe. That guy's so fast. He ran the pace truck and the big trucks. He scared me so bad, I told him he had to slow it down. But right now, he's pulling off.
Tino hit him with that Crandon shoe if you don't watch out. Let's find out what we're going to have here is the acceleration zone. You see that one little TORC banner. That's the start of it. Doesn't mean he needs to get on the throttle, and he's not. But right now, you better do it because we're about out of it. And a good jump by Tim Farr. Green means go. And you're seeing nobody want to dive to the inside. Oh, maybe a little bit by Lundberg.
Well, if you look at the
bumper cars.
Yeah, everybody got checked up there. We can't quite see who that number is, but you can see that the physical size, the Can-Am is so much bigger than the Polaris, but I've noticed that it seems like the top end of the Polaris is a little bit better, but the Can-Am seems to squirt out of the corner a little quicker, just like that.
Yeah, the Polarises, they've been working on those, making them stronger. The Bikeman Performance, they have a full, it looks like factory effort out here in the pits. We'd like to thank them for being a part because they put a lot of effort, a lot of time behind it. And typically it's been keeping them going. You know, they're fast, but keeping them going for all 10 laps.
Yeah, and Lundberg made a little mistake in turn 1, rotated a little bit early. He was heading for the inside line, and he had to slow down. But you can see here we're watching Van Eperen and Zakowski try to get that downside. Actually, no, that's CJ.
Yeah, CJ Greaves now moved up into 4th, has gotten by Zakowski on that last run. So one of the only passes we've seen in his
Oh, and we saw the leader.
Was that Tim Farr, I do believe, that pulled off?
Tim Farr pulled off. I'm sorry I jumped on top of you, Robbie, but now we have a new leader.
Get off me, Ricky. As we do have Jason Luberg into the lead now. So Luberg has moved from second into the first. Tim Farr, and just bad luck continues. He had that 15th place back in Elk River, and this looks like another instance like that where he just had to pull off the track. A little local caution there. The pulling them off. As you see Luberg trying to beat, we've only had 2 winners this season, Tim Farr and Rodney three. Kyle Cheney being the other one, our series points leader, and Cheney's back there in 5th spot now.
Well, Luberg did such a good job last year when we first brought UTVs into the TORC series. He was very strong, and it seems like now he's starting to figure out that clutch, the motor, get the whole package going, and now Rodney Van Emperen's having a hard time catching him. So an awesome job, and I said it a lot of time before, but great job by Jason Luberg.
Let's go down to Kate. Never mind, let's not go to Kate. Let's go to Jason Luberg looking on board there as his hand and wheel position, a little over rotation station.
But that's the beauty of having the Can-Am versus the Yamaha.
Hey,
we see Rodney Van Emperen catch, and Jason Luberg made a big mistake there as we see he pushes. Then he seems to be using a little bit too much hands and then rotating too hard in the middle. If he can get, I hate to be a driving coach here, but get your eyes up a little bit and you'll project the slide. But Rodney Van Emperen is very, very fast, even though he's swapping on down that straightaway.
You say that. You know, we watched earlier some of the sportsman class UTVs, and they were really nose low on some of these jumps. You talk about how you might want to bring that rear end down a little bit. Looking at Luberg's vehicle there, it looks like he's got a lot of squat in the back end of that.
Well, they have a lot more horsepower and it pulls. With the stock vehicle, what happens is it gets going down the straightaway a lot of times like the trucks in Crandon, and they sort of plateau. But these pull all the way up. So we'll see, can he make it all the way down the backside? You see both of them wide open, but Rodney Van Emperen putting it together, and now CJ Greaves in the mix as well.
And you see the dive on the inside, trying to make that pass, and this is the best race we've had, or the best race in this, of Jason Luberg getting the pressure with Van Emperen really closing in. You know, I was wondering what happened to Tim Farr, and our producer just told it, evidently having a heating issue with Farr, and that's why he pulled off. But you want to talk about turning up the heat, that's Rodney Van Emperen.
Exactly. We did see a couple blue puffs of smoke out of Luberg's vehicle, and I noticed that he's running a real protective line, and that's what's getting him on the exit, but it's really up, and then we see some smoke coming, and there he goes.
Mosquito Fogger. Mosquito Fogger comes out, and he shuts down.
So the 2 leaders have both broken.
Look at that.
And now we see CJ Greaves trying to do a duplicate of what he did. And he almost stalls it in the sand. Little brake check by Van Emperen, the motocross move. And now CJ has lost about 5 car lengths.
We haven't seen anybody take that wide of an outside line. He went outside that typical UTV burn.
Yep.
But did it cost him? As you see, Cheney now up into 3rd.
Exactly. I was just going to say, who is looming in 3rd place? The guy who's got so many second places and 1 victory is Cheney.
Yeah, our series points leader. And this is what Rodney Van Emperen needs, though. He needs more drivers between himself and Kyle Cheney, and this is exactly what's happening.
Right, but Cheney is catching him, and now we see him that he just seems to reel them in a little more straightaway, handles down the straightaway with 2 laps to go.
You're telling me this race is far from over, aren't you, Ricky?
No, definitely. And right now we see Van Emperen out in front. He's dragging a little something behind. We see the white flag. We know that CJ Greaves does not want to get second, and neither does Cheney. Here he comes up the inside.
And I like CJ's line, but that's going to open up the door. But that's why you have a spotter, and you see him racing down that straightaway. Oh, it's a local caution, so that means that they cannot make a pass there. But I'm telling you, it's really going to help Cheney as well.
And we have a lapper, and we see CJ going to the outside. He uses the lapper as a pick. He goes right around, all the way around the outside. The lapper gets in the way, so we have a 3-way battle for 1st place.
Rodney said, you ain't doing this. Not right now. You're not. I'm about to win. But Cheney is all over CJ Greaves. If CJ takes that outside line to get by Van Emperen, it could be Cheney that does it.
And Cheney, typically he's been running faster up the hill, so let's see if he can make some time. He looks to the inside. Can he get a run on CJ Greaves?
Yeah, heck of a drag race. Look at Van Emperen launching off of that. Cheney really closing on 3rd. Only 1 more right-hander to go after this. A race down the hill, and Van Emperen got a great drive.
Van Epper with a great drive. So the race right now is for second unless Van Epper makes a big mistake right here. If he holds the line, he'll be in a good spot.
Way wide for Van Epper. That gives him all the drive he needs up the straightaway. The race will be for second. Rodney Van Epper wins again, this time at Redbud. It looks like CJ Greaves finishes second, and Kyle Cheney, the series points leader, in third. So a race to the finish, and if it was one more lap, I don't know if Rodney Van Epper does. It looks like he's dragging a hose there. I don't know if he could have made another lap.
Trailblade tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper. An American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
There we are, Redbud. TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. It's the Rumble at Redbud. We've had 2 races so far, and both of them have been Rumbles. Ricky Johnson, Robbie Floyd, Kate Osborne here. And fans got to see good ones, and that's it for our small vehicles. But, man, I can't wait for the big boys to fire them up.
Well, and CJ was saying it was kind of hard, kind of one line, but it's created very good racing. And we've kind of predicted that because the rougher it gets, the more mistakes are made, and it gives the driver that is behind a chance to capitalize. We didn't get to see CJ Greaves work his way to the front. He worked his way to the front, but he was not able to pass his teammate, Rodney Van Epper.
Yeah, CJ worked his way up to the front starting. Let me look back. Way on back there. It looks like Pro Monitor, maybe not. Yeah, he started back outside the top 5. Well, Kate Osborne, you're with a happy man because also he's got CJ Greaves as a blocker with him. Rodney Van Epper takes another victory here, this time at Redbud. That makes it 6 on the season.
A happy man indeed. You just were in there saying, woo, you knew that one was tough, especially knowing that you were dragging probably a hose there at the end. If you had another lap, do you think you could have held on to it?
I don't even know. We're going to give it everything we got. You know, we got a little more motor than CJ, and I'm not oblivious to that. But I'll tell you what, I stand by my words. I think he's the single greatest talent in off-road racing. So anytime we can hold him off or whatever we did there, I'll take it. It's a win for us. I got to thank Yamaha Motor Corp, Yamalube, Luke at Beyond Redline, Maxis, boy, everybody, Power Sports One, Graves Performance, All Terrain Communications, everybody that's helping us here. We got this thing dialed in, and obviously Johnny, he's the one telling us everything we should do, and now we're running against CJ here. But everybody was helping us, my crew, my wife, my kids, my mom, my dad, Hutch, Winky. Winky ain't here this weekend, but Chad, everybody, thank you very much.
Definitely tell he's a happy man with another win.
I didn't know Winky Dinky Dog wasn't here this weekend as you look at the unofficial results, and didn't really think about it, but why is CJ Greaves running mods and stock? He's out there to try and win. You saw him try and do that, but if he does finish second, that's 2 more points that Van Epper, is able to gain over Cheney with only so many races left. So that could be a good spot for Van Epper as well, unless Greaves gets in front of Van Epper.
Are we talking team racing?
Hey, there's no doubt CJ was trying to win that race. Kate Osborne, you got him, and Rodney stuffed him there too. He wasn't going to let him by.
No, not at all. CJ just taking a podium in your first race here, but your car's a little dirtier than it was previously. What takeaways do you have now that you're going to be heading into Pro 4?
The track's definitely getting slick. They had a little more water down on it than the stock UTV, but we just need a little more for horsepower hill going up the back. I mean, if I was lucky to lose 2 lengths, I was happy with that, and to try to make it up everywhere else. But these guys are running good. I thought I was going to be able to get Rod in the back. Right here on the last lap, that lapper got in between there, and it was hard to tell where he was going to go, and I was like, well, we'll just try the outside and see what happens, and thought we were going to be able to get it, but it was super fun. I couldn't thank Luke from Beyond Redline. He put the engine in this thing. Yamaha, Yamalube, Aim Dash has a killer dash in this thing. good run to Rod and Cheney, and hopefully we can come back Crandon with a little more power and really be able to battle with these guys. But it was super fun, and I can't wait for tomorrow.
I love hearing that it was a good time for them. CJ Greaves.
Good run by the Monster Kid. And also want to point out, as you look at the point standings, Van Epper now 10 behind. Unlike motocross, where the difference in points between first and second is 3 and then 2 between second and third, here in TORC, it's 2 down away. So even if CJ wins that race, as long as Rodney still beats Kyle Cheney, he's still got those 2 points, just like they've had throughout the season. So unlike motocross, you're not really getting much of a pop for winning as you do here in TORC. So Kyle Cheney, he's still the points leader, and he's down with Kate.
Still the points leader, but he said that one was tough, to say the least. He experienced the full-on effect that it's hard to pass here, but you made your way through it. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I want to say sorry to Travis. I don't know what happened in that first corner. I don't know if I got hit from behind, but somehow my front bumper got caught in his rear bumper, and we were making Polaris Can-Am babies, so I don't know what was going on, and I didn't know if we were going to get out of there. I just knew everybody else was gone, and next thing I know, we finally get unhooked from each other, and I just start going and start picking people off, and I think halfway at the caution, I was counting cars, and I think we were 15th, and I don't know, I got lucky or something. I don't know what happened, but somehow we're up here, and I don't know. I'm really excited. That was a really hard race.
Yeah, good takeaways there, no doubt. Kyle Cheney still the points leader here today.
Thumbs up. He's still leading, and yeah, had a tough time at the start, but he came back strong.
Well, and I have to disagree with him where he says that I had a hard time passing. He went from 15th to 3rd, so evidently there was some places to pass out there, but Cheney did an awesome job working his way up and not giving up, and that's what it's going to take to win the championship, is not letting go.
And we're not letting go. We're far from over. We get to fire up the trucks. We're done with UTVs. The trucks come up here in just a bit.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Rugged radios. Work, race, play.
Hey, Steve, where you at?
Experience clear communications through headsets or helmet kits.
I'm up on the hill to your right. Oh, there you are.
Talk vehicle to vehicle.
Keep radio contact going. Copy?
Talk to passengers.
Copy that, I gotcha.
And stream your favorite music. Complete communications for UTVs, base camp, toy haulers, or off-road vehicles. Rugged radios, the authority in communications.
Beautiful day here at Red Bud Track and Trail, Buchanan, Michigan. TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. We call it the Rumble at Red Bud. We're also going to talk about the Vision Wheels Bad Mofo Award. Maybe it's Cheney, maybe it's CJ. You know, 2 podiums in a row. Maybe it's Rodney Van Eperen for a fight. You know, we've got several guys that can do this. Maybe, CJ Greaves for winning that stock class. But, you know, you get the Bad Mofo wallet, and what happens, Rick? Make it rain.
Make it rain. Just keep it coming. Keep it coming all day long.
All day, $250.
$250. Woo!
Wow, just check it. Make it $230.
Make it $10.
You always got that fee. You always got that fee. But I'd like to welcome everybody inside here at Red Bud. And, yeah, UTV, some people, look at them and go, man, I'd like to see buggies, or I'd like to do this. I like seeing the UTVs, and we saw a discrepancy this time between the stock and mods, and typically we don't, but you saw how much power those mods had going up that hill and landing the downsides. We're going to see even more in the truck.
Well, it's a lot like when it was with the 125s racing Supercross back in the 90s, that the guys had a harder time clearing the triple, and that could make or break a race.
Loved it.
And when it comes to the stock UTV, some of the guys are having a hard time getting up and clearing the double, and then you saw in the mods the guys were clearing the downside. So that little bit, that's free horsepower. When you clear something like that, you make up time. That's free time. All you got to do is send it. Larry Enticer, big fan of his. He's the snowmobile guy from Canada. He's going to send it, and that's exactly what they were doing. And so it's like a lightweight fighter versus heavyweights. You know, there's a big buzz around heavyweights back in the 70s and the 60s and stuff. Now you just want to see a great fight, and now I want to see a great race. I don't care if it's a side-by-side. I don't care if it's a UTV. I don't care if it's a motorcycle, a Pro 4, Pro 2, Pro Light. I want to see battles, and we saw great battles right now.
I do too, and you talk about it in a Supercross, and I just have to think that's just a couple of 100 yards to our right, Larocco's Leap. 125 is a heck of a struggle, you know, to make it up that thing. Now the 250Fs are doing it no problem. I like that, you know, difference between the two. We've also got something new, too. We talk about asking questions. If you've got a question for me or Ricky, or if Kate can get a question maybe into one of the drivers. We have something called hashtag TORC. So hashtag ASKTORC. That's how you spell it right. Ask TORC is simple. So there you go, just like that. Do you have a question? Ask us. We'll follow online. And there's a lot of places, you know, Twitter, Instagram is at TORC Offroad. Hashtag TORC17 for everything. If you're here, you're not watching us necessarily, but if you come here tomorrow, you know, make sure you hashtag Ask TORC if you've got a question. Hashtag TORC17, hashtag TORC. Just let everybody know what a great time you're having while you're here, and you can watch us at TORCseries.com and tell your friends about that.
Hashtag Ask TORC. Do you like Robbie's hair better with the spike or with this
or the part on the side?
Or the side?
Because I'm
a big fan of the spike myself. It's not a gay thing, nothing like that, but you got to respect when a man's doing his hair right. I think it's much better. You're in the booth with me.
Hey,
not with her.
You
leave her at home. You're at the booth with me.
My wife.
Do you like Robbie's hair better parted to the side or spiked? I want to know.
I don't think they care, but that's funny. Yeah, that is funny, and that's what you know the power of Ricky Johnson when he makes you cut your hair a different way. And not that he did, but when he was one of my hair idols growing up, him and Jeff Matasevich, I'm like, I got to listen to the man at least a little while.
Yeah, that can't do anything with it anymore. So I just do the buzz cut. I just run what I got.
You've got hair envy.
There we go. Yeah. I got massive hair envy. But we are back here at Red Bud.
Yeah, what are we going to do with this $250 for our bad mobile?
What are we going to do with those $10 for? Because our producers tell me they're going to count us. So evidently, I'm not the most trustworthy when they hand money.
Yeah.
But no, I really think it's cool what Vision Wheel has stepped up. We saw that Oakley back when TORC first got started. It was the Oakley Bomb Award, and it was great because racers thought about it, because even if you didn't win, if you threw down the fastest lap, and I remember races that I was in, I wanted to know where I stood on the charts.
I would have killed in that. I would have been awesome in that.
But see, it's a tricky game, because sometimes at some tracks the first lap is your best lap. Sometimes the last lap is your best lap. Sometimes it's the third lap. It all depends. So you have to put it all together and have everything going for you at once. Sometimes it's not the guy that was out in front leading because he doesn't want to make a mistake. It was the guy that was spun out in turn one, and now everyone blew the snot off the track, and now he can give it all he's got. So it's really great to see companies like Oakley in the past, and now we see Vision Wheels coming up, and then also putting a little bit of cash in the driver's wallet, in their wallet, giving them a wallet too. And the cool part is they're going to remember this, so they're going to pull it out, kind of like when you're 16, you pull your cars and your keys and you fling them around and stuff. Want people to know I'm driving a car. So people go, "What's that?" Well, let me tell you.
You can get some trouble.
I was the bad mofo at the Rumble at Red Bud. And so very cool. So thank you very much, Vision Wheel. This is a very cool gesture for the drivers. I just want an announcer's version. So
yeah.
Make two, please.
I'll try and make you one.
Not for Grant. Grant doesn't get one.
Grant Langston does not get one, but welcome, Grant. Hey, Grant's not a young gun either, but, you know, we have that new show that's coming out that very soon, and, again, it'll last through October. Again, if you weren't here with us earlier, we're talking about this new presentation, talking about some of the young guns in the sport. Here's just a brief look, and there's a lot more young guns out there than you may be privy to, but just check out some of the guys that will be in this new feature coming out soon.
A new generation is rising, an inevitable force primed to lay claim to what is theirs. This is Young Guns.
I don't have my popcorn, but I got my Panera cookie.
I got some cookie to go.
That was fantastic. I was watching that, and I was joking to our producer at the same time. I was like, don't show Brad Lovell. He's not a young gun.
Well,
that's wrong of me to do that.
That is
But
wrong.
he is battling with the young guns.
He's battling with them, and so are some of the old dogs too. You know, you got Scott Douglas out here. You got Ross Hook, that's not a really young guy, and you got Johnny Greaves, that's not
right
a young,
after his
not
birthday
a young guy.
too. His birthday was last week.
But that's the thing, is that I always feel that to be a king, you got to take down a king. And I don't like it when I've seen it in different sports where the dominant guy gets taken out with an injury or something like that, and then someone steps into his place and doesn't earn it. Now, granted, you have to be the strong guy to be there, but in off-road racing, you got the Rob Max that he is not. I don't think he's ever going to quit, to be honest with you. He's won like 1,000 Baja 1000s, even though there's only been 50. He's won the Mint 400. He's won every race possible, and there's no signs of him giving up. Same thing with Johnny Greaves.
They just did the announcement, I believe, the media release or whatever. They're talking about the guys that are coming in, the different classifications for Crandon. Will we see Rob Mack or maybe some of those guys at Crandon? Do you have any information?
I'm not sure. I know that some of the guys are coming. It's been back and forth, but the other schedule makes it very tight. There's a race a week before and 2 weeks after.
Hey,
so
fans,
it's very, very difficult.
Fans online, get into those guys' ears and say, you know what? I would love to see you at Crandon for that final race weekend. So we might not be able to put the pressure on, but if tens of thousands of fans would love to see them at the Mecca of short course off-road racing, that'd be pretty cool.
You want to see it, and that's the thing. And so there's a lot up in the air right now with TORC. They've gone with the 410 motor when it comes to Pro 2 steel block. 7,500 RPM with a DOT tire, where out west you can run the bigger motor, pounds per cubic inch, and so motors are over 50 grand and stuff like that with the project tire and stuff like that. So the rules don't exactly line up, but we want to see them racing, and that's the whole idea. That was the Flannery's brainchild back in the day. We want to see who's faster, the Pro 2s versus the Pro 4s. Well, obviously the Pro 4s are faster, but we want to stagger it so we see a great race.
And there's a Pro 4 over there on the far right. That's Scott Douglas. He's about to line up the Pro 4-wheel drives here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship. They're coming up next.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter. So count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
There she is, the Redbud TORC track at Redbud International Off-Road Raceway. Call it the Rumble at Redbud here in Buchanan, Michigan. Welcome everybody. The UTVs have completed their day of racing. Now it's time for the trucks. You see that Michigan Cat equipment doing the last minute touches, smoothing things out just a bit, and then hopefully they'll leave it rough throughout the day, because this track already, you've seen, it is unique. There's uphills, there's downhills, and there's big braking bumps that do play a factor as the Pro 4s are lining up to be our first truck race of the day.
That last picture of CJ was all serious with his arm folded. That's not him. That is so not him.
I saw Ross Hook on Facebook, or somebody was posted something. Oh, it was Keegan. Posted something about it being a Land Rush start, and this will be the first time we see the Land Rush start other than at Crandon. And I said, watch out for Ross Hook, because he was the whole shot master. I mean, he was going Obi-Wan Kenobi on that stuff. He was using the Force.
Well, let's talk about Ross Hook for a moment. What does Ross have that no other Pro 4 has? Question.
You want me to say good luck, so that's not going to happen.
He's the only one running automatic. If you notice, he's got ATD, Charlie McCormick, and everybody else is running the manual. So when it comes to this track, if I had my choice, if I was going to come here and you said, okay, RJ, we talk a third person, RJ, what are you going to run? I would say, you know what RJ would run? RJ would run an automatic 3-speed so that would give me a first, second, and third gear, where in times past, first gear was too low and you only had to use second and third gear. But here, I think you can make a lot more time with an automatic than a manual.
Really?
Yep. The one thing that an automatic does that where the manual helps is when you're in gear, you have a converter, which is like slipping the clutch. And so when you're coming through the corner, when you load the tire really hard, it can throw a little slip back into the converter, and so it won't bust through the berm. So they're trying to move everybody up a little bit. We see Scott Douglas moving back to take away a little speed. We don't want those guys coming in so hot into turn one that they can't make the turn. So what they're doing is they're throwing some stagger into it so that right now Ross Hook is in a good position. Now the question is
there enough lane to put that many trucks
No,
staggered?
they'll do a second row. So they're going to do one. They're going to do 4 and 4. So they'll do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now the question is Scott Douglas going to try to go for the whole shot on the outside, or is he going to duck it on the inside of Ross Hook? We're about to find out. So back to finish my thought on manual versus automatic is that it takes time to shift, and I see you can watch the guys lose a little bit of drive, but when it comes to total drive, it's unbelievable how well the manual. You got different ones. You got Fortin that makes one of the manual transmissions. You got X-Track that's in Johnny Greaves' truck. So here we see.
But after the start, will they even get back into first gear?
No, but I think they're using 2 or 3 gears. So really, you're
going to live in second probably on the racetrack and then grab third?
It depends if it's a 4-speed or if it's a 5-speed or what you're racing with. But I think these guys are mostly going to live in second and third gear most of the time.
Thanks, Kate. As we get ready for racing here at Redbud, the first division will be the Pro 4-wheel drives. These are the big boys, the bad boys, but 3 classes will be racing today, starting with the Pro 4s, then we'll see Pro Lights and the Pro 2s to the end of the afternoon.
And looking at them, they got a max cubic inch of 440. The horsepower is anywhere from 750 to 900, 20 inches of wheel travel, front and rear. Weight minimum is 4,100 pounds. So, and they also have a project tire, a 35-inch tire, where these guys groove them to their own specifications. Some guys like to groove in a lot of side bite. Some like to put in more forward bite. So it's anybody's guess.
A unique factor here at Redbud is it's not just Crandon where you will see the standing start. Here at Redbud, they have that land rush start as well, albeit not near the speed, and you see them a considerable stagger, more stagger than we'd even see it at Crandon, but not also that distance, that run up to that first turn, not near as far.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting because this is the first time we've seen trucks going this fast. So I want to make a correction on one of the things that I said. I got a bad text going on. Is that Johnny Greaves is running a Fortin transmission, not an X-Track.
Those of you watching at home, I'd like to welcome everybody on TORCSeries.com. And you can watch this on BN Sports, and you can find out all the air dates here. The first time we've been at Redbud Track and Trail since 2013, and they're preparing for this start. It's the first time we've seen this land rush start, period. The first time any of these drivers, I mean, in practice, they did get one little moment of practice time of starting from a dead standstill and seeing what it'd feel like, but really this is the first time they've done it with anybody around them.
Well,
as everybody looks to be buckled up and things are preparing to go for this first race, it will be an 11-lap race. We'll have a competition caution at the midway point. The big thing is who gets the start. Ross Hook on the left. That means he's on the inside. A good run with a good starter. My money's on Ross Hook. But we're also seeing it looks like on the left is Johnny Greaves trying to move from third to second.
But Johnny runs really wide, gets into the barrier, and now as Scott Douglas works into second, Keegan on the outside. Can he make something work going up the uphill?
The big thing with the Pro 4-wheel drives is you'll see double, followed by another double. No problem. Look at Ross jumping all the way down there. Look at the speed. And it is Johnny Greaves into second, and he backs into third. Or first, excuse me. Now, never mind, I had it right to begin with. He is in third.
Second, third, first, and now it's Scott Douglas, and now Johnny Greaves back down the inside, but it's very muddy. Watch Scott Douglas try to shoot up the inside on the exit.
Woo, Johnny blew that inside. I thought he was really trying to grab that inside. He said, nope, she ain't stopping.
Well, as both him and Ross Hook tried to stop, and they both pushed massively, and you can see the same things happening as they come into the last hairpin before they head down the hill. So first lap, very, very slick.
Super slick for Keegan Kincaid as well. He said it's the first time that really everything feels right with this truck, and right now he's back in 6th place, I believe.
We see the braking bumps, and you see how much faster and how much more dirt is moved. And here we see CJ Greaves has moved his way into 4th position.
Scott Douglas in second. CJ goes in. It looks like Keegan Kincaid again getting pushed wide there. Or that would be Ross Hook. So guys sliding all over the place, and they're doing it on Pro 4s. You can imagine that first lap of the Pro Lights and the Pro 2s a little later on.
Exactly, but one of the things that the Pro 2s and the Pro Lights have is a turning brake, and I don't see Ross Hook setting it up. He seems to come in, hit the brakes, push, get a lot of forward brake, but it doesn't look like he's using the rear brake to help him turn, which a lot of the manuals don't have that. They have to come in, brake, and actually use the throttle to brake it loose to rotate, but Ross Hook not using his turning brake.
The guy with the biggest push or that understeer I'm seeing, it has to be Keegan Kincaid. He's back there in 5th spot, not able to work up. And Scott Douglas also was looking forward, I thought, to a new transmission change, but he didn't go. He's still going with the same setup that he had previously.
Yeah, he actually has a truck. He has a manual transmission and an automatic, and he chose to stay with the manual. He feels like he doesn't want to jump around and just give up on any one thing, but you can see that he's having a hard time trying to make up the small bits of time, and now we see CJ Greaves right up on him.
Kate Osborne, you have more on Johnny Greaves?
Yeah, the number 22 truck of Johnny Greaves told me earlier today that the keys to today's race is going to be the tires and the suspension, and also really understanding the track in this first half of the race, as they haven't obviously spent time out on it except for those couple of practices, in which case Johnny didn't actually run at all today.
Yeah, lines are going to be a big factor. You're right. I mean, you need all of those things. You need tires. You need the suspension set up for those braking bumps that will deliver or will start to build as the race goes on. But, yeah, both he and CJ are pretty comfortable. As you see CJ Greaves in that Mutant truck, number 33. His Toyota now starting to close in a little bit on the 7 of Scott Douglas.
Well, and one of the things that the guys have to think about is not getting so much roost. The dirt is very heavy here, and as it flies through the cab, it can pack up your radiator and create problems later. But, Johnny Greaves makes a mistake, and now he has a hard time getting it into reverse, so Johnny Greaves with a timely mistake.
And you saw it when he over-rotated that time. He was heading straight for it. I knew and that's not a tire you're just going to jump over either.
No, and now we see CJ Greaves working the inside, and now we're taking another look at that. Johnny Greaves comes down as he bounces, he flicks it sideways, but he rotates a little bit too much as he gets on the gas. It hooks, and then it doesn't slide and runs him right into the tire. And Scott Douglas was quick enough to make the move and hold on to the lead.
And we talked about it at the top of the show. I mean, this is going to be a tricky track as well as those braking bumps.
They upset the truck on those downhills coming into those turns. If it's flat, if it's uphill, doesn't bother you as much. But when you're in the air, it's hard to brake and set up the way you want to.
Well, and Jeff Fran and the whole crew here at the AMSOIL truck with Scott Douglas and Douglas Motorsports, these guys are running really strong. This is the best we've seen them run all year long. They've had some gremlins with fuel injection and a couple of issues, but now we see everybody slamming on the brakes and slowing down, so we have some kind of issue. We see Scott Douglas moving out to the side now. CJ Greaves moving to the inside.
CJ takes over the lead, and what's wrong with Scott? He's not able to turn that truck. I don't even see his wheels trying to turn left.
Well, there could be a situation. I've had it to where you blow one of the valves inside the power steering because you have a rack that holds everything back and forth, and once it goes, you can't drive it. You can barely turn it because you're trying to move so much fluid and move that ram back and forth. But it's CJ Greaves that is out in front, but Keegan Kincaid has been very fast in practice, so let's see if he can put it together here.
And he didn't look fast at the start of this race, but it's a battle of attrition right now. Johnny making mistakes. Looks like Scott Douglas with the mechanical. CJ working his way up through the field, started in 5th place, now he's in 1st. Keegan Kincaid had all that push going on, couldn't get the truck to rotate. Maybe he was set up a little bit more towards the back half of the race as well. That may be a factor.
Well, I mean, you're doing everything that you can, and you got to deal with what you're racing on. And right now, CJ, and he's been out there. This is the second time that he's been so close to that wall. So CJ has to be careful as he goes around Dan Badeau, one of the lappers.
Got DeWitt is actually in that truck on my list right there. I thought it was CJ for just a moment. But you see CJ in this right-hander, he was set up before he even got to that hill on that uphill.
Yeah, you can see the track is starting to come together. You know who's running strong is Johnny Greaves has worked his way back into 3rd position. We see Keegan running on the high side, Johnny on the low side, and really gaining some time on Keegan Kincaid.
I don't think Keegan can turn that truck right. He's had problems in power steering in the past. I don't know if that's it. As Johnny gets he gets on the inside of somebody, and yeah, he's wanting to get by Keegan. I'm not sure that Keegan's all right there because he's just taking some unconventional lines, it looks like.
Well, he's having a hard time. Here we come to the competition caution. So Keegan seems like when he comes in, he's having a hard time rotating. And when you have that, you have to come in, turn, let it push a little bit, and then hit the gas to try to break everything loose. But he's not able to get the vehicle rotated before he gets to the corner.
Again, so far this season in Pro 4-Wheel Drives, it's been a Greaves show. CJ and Johnny winning all of the races in Pro 4s, but Scott Douglas was out in front, and now he's off the track. Kate Osborne?
You know, Scott Douglas pulled into the hot pit saying, you know, guys, I am sorry about that. I have a good truck. I know I had a good truck, but I have no power steering.
Yeah, and it's not his fault. I mean, you can see how frustrating he is because I talked with Scott before the race, and he felt that he had a weapon that he could get it done. And this guy has won so many times, and he just, it seems like he's been snake bitten. Yeah. He has to find something to get himself out of it. But he's got a great crew, great sponsors. So keep your head up, Scott. And maybe if something bad happened, we'll see him in an automatic tomorrow.
Yeah, something definitely happened with Scott Douglas. Not how he wanted to celebrate his 57th birthday last Monday. So we'll find out how the second half of this Pro 4-Wheel Drive race ends, because we've had one heck of a first half here at Red Bud. As the drivers make their way up the hill, a Toyota Escondido Pace vehicle leads CJ Greaves, Keegan Kincaid, Johnny Greaves back in 3rd. We saw some truck banging between Johnny and Keegan there at the end. I'm not quite sure that it's just Scott Douglas who has the steering problems, or if Keegan Kincaid might have issues like he's had a couple of times this year. Then again, it could just be set up. He might be trying to turn, and that truck doesn't want to go where he's pointing.
Well, and the track is going to get quite a bit racier, and we've seen that we lost a couple trucks, but right now Johnny Greaves is the man on the move, and he's going to be upset after making a mistake.
But he's in 3rd. His son is 2 markers in front of him. He does not want CJ to pull out. Johnny Greaves, watch him in 3rd, trying to get by Keegan as quick as he can. Keegan wants to get by CJ and have his first Pro 4 victory of 2017. Green means go. The second half of this race has started.
Johnny looking again to the inside, but Keegan with a great run. Keegan's got a little bit more torque in that motor than the Toyotas. The Toyotas like to run high, but it looks like Keegan has a little more torque coming off the corner.
Look at him drag racing again. Uphills, downhills, deep sand means big braking bumps as well. Choppy, you have to set that suspension up, but also a lot of times on those downhills, if you're getting kicked and you're in the air, you can't put on the brakes when you need to.
And you saw Keegan, as he comes in, he hits the gas to get it loose, but then he has to let off. So it's a catch-22. You got to rotate, but if you rotate too late, it's going to mess up your exit. If you rotate too early, what's going to happen is happen to Johnny Greaves. So it's hard. It's a hard balancing act, but right now CJ seems to have the right amount of running with a push and running loose.
I thought CJ was going to come around. I mean, that's that fine edge of running that cushion. I mean, you've seen it in sprint cars. You get just a wheel off a little bit too far, it's going to bring you around donut style.
But it seems like CJ is more comfortable with being patient in the middle of the corner. Watch as he comes into this corner. He pushes really hard, and then he waits for the vehicle. Then he rolls on the gas to get off on the exit where you see Keegan is trying to manhandle it, and Johnny Greaves as well, who comes off on the inside.
Like a point and shoot, or as Grant Langston, my partner in the booth previously this year, calls it point and squirt, because you just aim, dart, aim, dart. It really makes it like a 4-point turn when you're trying to be in a nice smooth arc.
Keegan with a really strong run through the sand pit, gained about 2 car lengths, but watch here that he hammers the gas and he gets a good run through the corner, and now we see smoke coming from CJ Greaves.
That's our leader, and there goes to the inside. Keegan Kincaid trying to make a pass on CJ, and that is a new leader. CJ Greaves drops back. And what happened to him? And now Keegan Kincaid, whether he's having problems or not, he's loving things. And you're talking about full tilt boogie right there. Kate Osborne, you got more on Keegan?
Yeah, I'm talking to Keegan earlier. He said that this is one of those tracks that he has loved, not this one in particular, but Redbud as a whole. He had mentioned this even a couple of years ago that he wanted to come back here. He's back. He feels comfortable, and I even had a conversation with him about that manual transmission, that he feels like that he struggled to get comfortable all season long. Well, he said this is a track where he doesn't feel it adds any advantages, and you can see right now, as you guys are saying, he is on it.
Yeah, he is pinned, and there's 3 drivers that have won here at Redbud before. We have with 3 years, we went back to back to back. We haven't been here since 2013. Scott Douglas, Brad Lovell, and CJ Greaves, the only guys in all of our racing that has won here at Redbud.
And confidence is a strange animal. All of a sudden, we see Keegan get out in front, and now he's running away from Johnny Greaves. And so it's like he can taste the victory, so he's actually driving much, much better. So it's going to be great if he can hold this. He has 4 more laps to go. So, 3 laps to go. So he's got to maintain what he's got going on. But right now, Keegan is running very strong and enjoying that confidence of being out front.
And I talk about setup in that truck, maybe not going where it goes with a manual, and him having to do that shifting. That might be a factor too early on, because this is a busier track than some of the others we've been on.
And look at the lead that Keegan has. So hold it together, buddy. You see Johnny Greaves not making anything. Don't tear that stuff up. We got to get all the way down. So we got 3 laps to go with a commanding lead from Keegan Kincaid.
And the thing with the points battle is CJ and Johnny were tied in series points. So this is a good day for Johnny. Not how he wants to do it, but Johnny will now take over the series points lead. Keegan Kincaid was back there in 3rd, 12 points behind. So he's making up a little bit of ground on the field. This is not a perfect drive for Keegan. I mean, he's either trying to find something different, or that truck's still, kind of trying to come out from under it.
Well, but also a lot of strange things happen in this racing. There's so much bumping and banging. We saw him and Johnny Greaves get into a pretty hard altercation early on in the race. And a lot of times that can knock the toe out, knock the toe in, can mess up your drive plates, a lot of different things. So right now, Keegan's got a 100% truck underneath him, and that's why he's able to shine, because we've seen him win in every other class that he's raced, so this is his time.
How about Ross Hook back in 3rd place? It would be his best finish of the year. A couple of 4ths. He was 4th in Chicago. He was 4th in Crandon. How cool would it be to see him on the podium as well? Let's go to Kate.
Ross Hook changed the motor actually today. They found some metal in the oil stream, so that was a different day than he had expected, but right now it looks like he could be tying his best finish of the season.
As you're seeing body parts off the back there of Ross Hook. And then that's all right. That's fiberglass flapping. No problems for him. He'll gladly give that up to finish on the podium. As you see the difference between Keegan and Johnny. Johnny may be closing just a little bit, but Keegan Kincaid still leading. Man who sits third in points in the Pro 4-wheel drives. There's the number 40 still limping around of DeWitt. Alex DeWitt out of Ohio having his problems today. And Johnny's definitely closing with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, Johnny has made up quite a bit of time, and now it looks like he was kind of holding back a little bit, but now he's definitely letting it rip. So we should be seeing the white flag this time by, and you can see how much the driver's getting bumped and bounced around. The white flag is out.
The differential between Keegan Kincaid and Johnny Greaves, about 3 seconds it looks like. And Keegan's making mistakes. Johnny's made his fair share, but only 1 more lap to go. Anything can still happen. And that is a high-speed little chicane, but it's really this turn that I think is a big factor here.
Right, you can see Keegan goes out, uses the outside. And this is actually Keegan's best corner. Johnny cleaned it up that last time by. You can see Johnny looking to the inside, gets a little bit of run coming off, but it's going to be up the hill is going to be the big difference.
Oh, big hit right there too, hitting those berms. And Johnny driving out a lot better that time. Johnny's closing in one more time as they go up that horsepower hill. Big left, Johnny goes the inside. Keegan, he's giving him a lot of room, and now he's in a bluff. Johnny goes even wider. There's 1 more right-hand turn.
That's what I love about Johnny Greaves. You give him an inch, he's going to try to take a mile. The door was open, and he stuck it in there. It didn't work, but right now it's all about Keegan Kincaid.
Keegan Kincaid coming off his best finish of 2017, a second in Bark River, and his first win here at Red Bud. Vision Wheels takes the top spot in that number 2, followed by Johnny Greaves in second. Third will go to Ross Hook. What a finish by Hook. So a few bobbles, some mechanicals, a heck of a drive, and Keegan Kincaid is your victor. We'll hear from him when we return to Red Bud.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Mattitives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Mattitives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection, and by Cooper Tires. We make tires for people, not just cars.
So as the drivers prepare to work their way back to the podium area in their respective pits and try and get things sorted out for tomorrow's race, the next round of TORC. A lot of work. Still don't know what happened to CJ Greaves. It does show him completing 11 laps, so he will finish in 4th unofficially. So he loses 2, 4, 6 points to Johnny today.
Yeah, but tough blow. But actually,
That's not
if you're
bad.
going to have a DNF, I'd rather finish 4th than all the way. Look, you see Bordeaux all the way down in 7th place and Douglas in 6th. So tough break for Scott Douglas because he was running so strong, and we've been wanting to see him up there. So we know he's driving. He know he's got the truck. So that's got to give him some confidence going into the next round.
There trackside, we're getting ready also now. You see track prep going on. And once again, congratulations to our guys here, Jeff Nordstrom, Flavio, and all the guys who are working on this track, not only to build it, but also to keep it in top form. Let's go down to Keith Osborne trackside with our winner.
Welcome back to Redbud, stop number 9, the Rumble at Redbud. And we had a fight on our hands, and Keegan Kincaid, he gets to wear the belt. He's the champion here for round number 9. The Traxxas Cooper Tires Vision Wheels entry takes a victory. It's first of 2017, Kate.
That is a huge win for you for a lot of reasons. It checks a lot of your boxes that you've been working for all season long, but it didn't come easy, not only because of the battles, but what happened those last couple of laps?
Yeah, the last couple laps, power steering fluid was squirting in my face, and I was wiping for the last 3 laps and just kind of blurry vision the last 3 laps, and they kept saying John's closing, and just had to keep pushing, and it was good. This truck, you know, we put a lot of time into it. My guys, Cody, my dad, Jay, everybody that's, you know, put a lot of time into it and effort, and we finally put this thing on the top spot, and hopefully there's more to come. You know, hopefully tomorrow we're going to put our head down, and we gained a little bit of points on these guys, so it's going to be good. I can't thank Vision Wheels, Cooper Tire, Traxxas enough, and all my team just for giving us this first win in this new Pro 4. So
all season long he's been trying to get comfortable. Well, guys, it looks like he's finally there.
As we look at the unofficial results, Keegan takes his first win of the season. He's won before. He had a handful of opportunities to race a Pro 4, and he took advantage of it. But this year, in a brand new truck, he comes out and wins just a few rounds into the season. And Johnny Greaves, Ross Hook, top 3. But CJ Greaves, again, you talk about losing championship points. He didn't lose too many, but he did lose 4 behind Johnny. Let's go down to Kate Osborne.
Well, after every single race, you can always find a takeaway. And Johnny Greaves, what was yours here today?
Well, you know, I did everything right the first couple laps, and then I did it all wrong in that one lap and spun out, hit that tire. You know, that cost me pretty much all the time, and, you know, caught back up. You know, CJ had some sort of unfortunate incident, and that gave me that shot. And, you know, I just was, I don't know, I was flustered there for a little bit, and I couldn't get my groove on. And then in the end, I just started trusting the truck again and committing. And like I said, this track's a little bit tricky for everyone to figure out the first time out here. And, you know, I think I figured it out by the end. And, you know, Keegan was having a little bit of problems, but, you know, we were moving forward.
A flustered Johnny is not the way to be, but second place nonetheless here in Pro 4.
Well, he'll get another opportunity, Kate, at round 10 as you take a look at the point standings. And they were tied coming in, but now Johnny 4 points ahead of CJ. Keegan moves up just a bit. He gains a couple on Johnny and CJ as well. But look at Ross Hook back there in 5th place. He got to have a smile on his face. It's his best finish. It ties his best finish ever, but a 3rd place here in 2017. He just keeps building that momentum, Kate.
You know, that smile is so big on your face, Ross. And interestingly enough, I talked to your team earlier today, and they said that a 3rd would be like a victory for you. Why?
Absolutely. You know, we've been busting our tails for 5 years to try and catch up to these guys, and you know, we're doing it with the help of some really good performance partners. But unfortunately, we're lacking the financial backing to really take this team to the next level. And so, you know, getting a podium when you're doing it on passion for the sport and, you know, a volunteer crew is just it's an amazing step.
No doubt about it, and he's getting a little emotional down here. We'll let you celebrate with your friends and family.
Hey, with that Shop Vac ATD trail ready Toyota Maxxis entry, hey, congratulations, Ross Hook. Well, it's a brand new track. These fans get to see it for the first time. The drivers get to race it for the first time. And we sat down and talked to them earlier this week and asked them what they were looking for and what about this Redbud track.
I think it's great to be back here in Redbud. This is where I won my first race, and you know, there's memory of that. And I love the fact that they got a new track out here. They got a bunch of space out here to build it.
I'm just excited to see the effort they put into it and the size of the track and the nice fencing and K-rails, and it looks beautiful.
The thing that's really unique about this track is it's really built like a motocross track. You know, Redbud is obviously famous for motorcycle racing, and that's carrying over into this track. So that means it's kind of real dodgy. There's a rhythm to the jumps, hairpin turns where you really got to get in there and set the truck and whip it around and be the first guy out of the hole.
The Land Rush start is something Crandon's iconic for, and it's a little different here. It's more of like a moto style Land Rush start, funnels you down, and it looks interesting. It looks tight, technical. It's going to get rutted, be really good battles, and create some good action.
It's going to be tight coming in that first corner. It's like a 180, so that's exciting. You know, it brings me back to like racing quads and stuff, so it should be pretty fun.
there's a couple big jumps in the back. There's a double out of what I would call that Talladega turn 2 or whatnot into a rather large step up. From the side, it doesn't quite do it justice when you're strapped in the truck and look at the face on that thing. It's gnarly. They got a little like mini Larocco's Leap back there, which is pretty cool, and off-camber turns and whoop-de-doos and things like that. And I love it when they put rollers and maybe fingers in the corner, and we're seeing all that. So a lot of thought went into it, and I hope it races well.
Everybody's equal coming into this. Nobody has an advantage or nothing, so it's whoever can adapt fastest and come out on top.
It's Red Bud, I mean, come on.
Red Bud, what a facility, what a track, and the pro lights. They'll be firing it up here in just a minute. We'll see the climbing boys. We'll see. We heard how they like it before the race. Let's see how they like it after the race. They're coming up next.
Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter. So count on Cooper. An American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Buenos dias. We're in Red Bud. I call it Buchanan, Michigan, about 30 minutes away from Notre Dame. The famed scene of Rudy's stand, I guess, for the football. Who's going to be Rudy today? Who's going to be that underdog that can step up and knock Goliath?
Well, and everybody in Trivial Pursuit loses that. Not everybody, but a lot of people lose that question. They think it's back in Connecticut or in Maine or something like that, that it's back east.
Where Notre Dame is?
Yeah, Notre Dame. And it's in South Bend, Indiana. And it is not it's not a big party town. It is kind of a sleepy little town with an unbelievable college.
Hey, let's take a look at Pro 4-Wheel Drive, how it went down. Ross Hook with a start, but Ross got wide, and Johnny took advantage. That'd be Johnny Greaves, by the way.
Everybody pushed wide. Johnny looking to the inside. Now here we see him looking to the inside of Scott Douglas, but Scott running a really strong race, got himself up into first.
Until Johnny turns left, and a little too much left, and I got to find the R button. Where's reverse of this thing?
Exactly, and he's in a manual transmission, that Fortin box, so it takes a minute to get into reverse, but these things are designed to go forward. Here we see Johnny looking, going down the inside, getting sideways. No bump, no blood, no foul, all good racing.
Green flag means go, because that's the second half of the race. It was good for CJ Greaves for a while, and then shut her down, Charlie Brown. Something happened to him. He would drop back and finish fourth in the race. Last lag, it got to get a little closer than I thought it would, but we heard that, Keegan was having problems with his power steering, got fluid shot in his face, but he still was able to take the win, his first of 2017. Fans got to see a good one here. You and I are going to get to race over there in the Kiddie Fun Land here in just a little bit as you see the big video board, the big video screen. Welcome to our screen. Of those of you watching at home at TORC Series, I'm Robbie Floyd. He's Ricky Johnson, the champion. Not only here in TORC, you won the very first race, TORC race at Red Bud, but if memory serves me right, I think you were the motocross champion here at Red Bud back in 1986.
Yeah, 86. I won in 84. Had some good days here. Had some bad days. Got a big hole, broke my tooth, smashed my face.
Good and bad times here
so
at Red
I've
Bud.
had good and bad times, but let's call out some of the winners in the past. In 2013 was the last time we were here. Mike Jenkins won race one, and Mike, we know that you watch. We know that congratulations. That we know that you sponsor Keegan. get your butt back out here. We need the Jenkins family back in the TORC series.
You know, he's got to be itching. He's got to be, especially a track crazy. That, a place that he won, not necessarily this track, but
you can only do so much at those car auctions. You got to come out here and go do some racing.
Come on,
and then also Rob McCachran, who we haven't seen out here in a while. Bryce Menzies was one of the guys that won here, and then CJ Greaves won here in 2013 in a Pro Light, as well as Doug Matag.
I also see Jeff Kincaid, a winner here back in Pro 2. We just saw his son Keegan win in the Pro 4-wheel drives.
And the first time we were here, Scott Douglas won the second race. So we have a couple past champions. We have a couple guys that have raced here in the past, but it was a completely different track.
Looking at that, though, the first father-son to win here at Redbud will now be the Kincaids. It could have been Ricky and Luke. We'll see Luke in the Pro 2-wheel drive, but he just hole-shotted you. He just got it. It could have been Johnny and CJ, but Johnny had his bobble. CJ's won before.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Just wanted to do that. Hey, you can't win them all, but Johnny said 86. He was here. He was here racing in there. I'm sure he didn't do as well as you did that day in the motocross, but I was talking to Cam Reimers. I said, what year were you born, Cam? He said, 88. I'm like laughing with Johnny, and he's like, oh, man.
Exactly, but I love this because, look, you got Johnny Greaves, you got second, who just looked like he's eating something, drank some bad milk, and then you got Ross Hook on the outside, third place.
He's like he's like the Lost Blues Brothers.
He's happy as can be right there. It's a tough thing when you win, and you win consistently, because every time you get beat, you're just disappointed. So Johnny, come on. You're leading the points, and you.
Wait, okay. Let's. When we're talking about other racers, and we saw earlier in the UTVs, when somebody does something, when you lose the race on your own, it's one thing. If somebody knocks you out of the race, it's another. And when you feel like you turned into that tire, had to throw it in reverse, you lost the race.
Yeah.
You did that. It wasn't somebody beating you. You gave it away.
And let me be clear. I'm busting Johnny's chops here because he's so competitive, and he and I, if you guys have watched the past stuff in the TORC, he and I have been screaming at each other, and me and his son and the whole family and his brother and all that stuff. But here's the thing. We all just want to win. We all want to do the best that we can, and when we feel we have a shot at winning and we feel like someone's cheated us out of it, whether they bumped us out of the way or whatever, you get angry and tempers flare. But we're all in it. We need each other. Batman needs the Joker and stuff like that. And so sometimes I was the Joker, sometimes I was the Batman, back and forth. But you can just see the disappointment because, as you said, he messed up. Yeah. And I've done it. I've done it 1,000 times. I've done it probably way more than Johnny Greaves have. So I just want to make it clear that the difference in emotion. You got a first-time winner in Pro 4 in Keegan Kincaid this season, and then when you see Ross Hook just so excited, and tears coming to his eyes when being in third.
Special moment. And Zach Martin was the driver I was thinking about earlier. He was disappointed with finishing second because, again, he felt like he gave it away at that particular point. So we still have plenty more racing to come. The Pro Lights coming up next, one of our best races. We had a new winner to our next round. Stick with us. We'll be back with more of TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by Amsoil right after this.
Redbud.
When it comes to protecting your engine, Amsoil offers the next level performance truck owners demand. Amsoil provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. Amsoil, devoted to protection.
Rugged radios. Work, race, play.
Hey, Steve, where you at?
Experience clear communications through headsets or helmet kits.
I'm up on the hill to your right. Oh, there you are.
Talk vehicle to vehicle.
Keep the radio contact going. Copy?
Talk to passengers.
Copy that, I gotcha.
And stream your favorite music. Complete communications for UTVs, base camp, toy haulers, or off-road vehicles. Rugged Radios, the authority in communications.
As you can see, it's a breezy day here now in Buchanan, Michigan. The river just down the way there as we're at the highest point of the track looking down. To the far left is Horsepower Hill, as CJ Greaves likes to call it. The least horsepower class about to head up as far as the trucks are concerned here in just a moment. The Pro Lights, but plenty more horsepower than you're used to driving out there on the street. I can assure you of that. And speaking of that, you actually give me a ride around this track, Ricky Johnson. Yesterday is my first time in a truck with you, and I told you, I said, right off the bat, I said, don't do anything stupid.
Don't try to impress me.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Just do a normal lap, RJ.
Yeah.
Sit down, and this is something that you don't tell Robbie Floyd normally.
Yeah.
Sit down, shut up.
Yeah.
Hang on, we'll be all right.
You tell me that often.
But it was fun because when we went over the top, as Cam Reimer said, that step up doesn't look real impressive from the side, but when you're coming at it at full speed and you're roughly 40 to 50 miles an hour and you take off into what looks like the oblivion.
You just see a face.
Exactly. So, and you don't know where you're going to land and things like that. It's a little bit spooky, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the landing that downside is so important. And, we've had some sportsman class racing before this, and most of them do all right. But there's some buggies out there that got the bad end of that deal because they don't stay in the throttle. It's hard telling somebody that's not in the throttle all the way and they land up short, and it's a really hard landing to give it more throttle because they think they're going to land harder, when a lot of times that's not the case. If you stay in it, it's going to be a lot smoother if you land on top than if you land in the face. But having that pucker factor and knowing that you got to keep your foot in it, the consequences, a lot of people just don't deal with it so well.
And that's where you get guys that grow up riding motorcycles, and if you the generation now is a lot of tabletops and a lot of double jumps, and so you have to commit. And once you commit, you have to plan that way ahead of time. You can't just come up to the face of it and give it a blast. You can, but you're asking for trouble. You're better off if you got your body and your motorcycle going at the same speed.
That's absolutely right. You're seeing the drivers, and I guess they are not lining up as they qualify because Cam Reimer's had the quickest time of the day. Looks like a points flip, or Kyle Kleiman back there in 5th on the start will be our series points leader.
So this is a good day for
As you see the drivers lined up here at Red Bud, this is the Pro Light division. A little less horsepower, plenty of suspension, DOT tires. They're ready to hammer down here, and it is the same Land Rush start that the Pro 4s were on. Robbie Floyd, Ricky Johnson, Kate Osborne here with you in Buchanan, Michigan, about a half hour outside of the hallowed grounds of Notre Dame. What is the Pro Light class, Ricky?
Pro Light is a 350 cubic inch motor, roughly 450 horsepower, 12 inches of wheel travel, around 3,000 pounds, wheelbase 106 inches, a light-duty pickup truck. So this is your Toyotas, your Chevy Colorados, and so on.
You're looking at the Pro Lights, the fastest driver in Pro Lights, the man with the most wins this year. 5 victories for Kyle Kleiman. He has a 20-point advantage over his brother Cody, but Cody won the last round at Bark River, kind of building off that momentum. Kyle, you see him on that far right. Is that a good or a bad thing? He's 5 trucks behind, but he's got a clear lane on that far right-hand side.
Yeah, but we're going into a right-hand turn that's not going to be good.
Yeah, that's where I was getting. As you see, it looks like Chad Rayford in there. Not good for Sean Morris because he's going the wrong way. Cody Kleiman sneaks in there, and Morris can't be happy with that.
Morris got sideways, got hit, knocked up on the bike, but did a phenomenal job, so he stays at 27, does not have 28 rolls.
Yeah, he's at 27, matches his number as far as rolls in his career in that truck, and yeah, he's still holding that 7 heck of a bicycle. Now, Cam Reimer's in second. Watch out for the Liquid Ridge truck. He was fastest earlier in qualifying out of Ogden, Iowa. He's been at this track on the motocross side of it several times racing the four-wheeler nationals.
So this first lap, it's really slick, and you're going to see the drivers move to the outside, use the cushion as much as possible. Now we get to see, Chad Rayford, who's worked his way from the back all the way up to 4th position.
Chad Rayford in the 29, but everybody's chasing Andrew Carlson, the 151 out of Elk River, Minnesota, Premier Material Concepts, Aturo Tires Ford. He's leading this when he sits 5th in championship points. He also drives a Pro 2-wheel drive, and in his first race out, goes and wins the thing at Bark River.
Yeah, Andrew Carlson with a great support crew, is obviously with his family, and now we see Cam Reimer looking to going from the outside to the inside, a little bit of a motor line.
Love that. I mean, you saw how hard Cam charged in on the right. Now, both of these guys have raced and do race in different machinery as well. Cam, a quad racer, and you're seeing Andrew, who raced on sleds. He's a snowmobile guy.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the same thing. You know, when you're racing in snow like we did in Frozen Rush, it's hard to read the snow, but in dirt you can watch the mud, you can watch the blue groove, you can use a lot of different lines, and you can watch how it changes.
And there's 1 and 2 at points. Kyle Kleiman trying to get by brother Cody. Cody in the 48, both Ponzi entries. The Longer's best friend, and right now the Enduro Tire entry of Andrew Carlson gapped a little bit over Cam Reimers, but it's still a long race, 11-lap race. Comp caution will come out after lap number 5. Sean Morris looks like he went way wide on the track. Something may be wrong with that Kenda entry truck.
Yeah, he got hit pretty hard in turn 1. Bicycled really hard. A lot of times when you put that much stress on the steering box, you can do some damage, and now it might be coming back to haunt him. And here we see a little bit of smoke coming out of Cody Kleiman's truck.
Kyle Kleiman actually broke an axle earlier on this morning, but they got things sorted. I'd like to thank the Carlson family. The team that's winning right now actually loaned him a spare axle just so he could race this race.
Well, that's the thing. That this is a big family, and yeah, we fight, we bump and bang and argue with each other, but we want each other out there so that we can say, you want that ability to say, I beat you.
There he is, Kyle Kleiman back in 4th place, the series points leader, Kate Osborne.
Kyle Kleiman, he told me that he is out for redemption. He said his streak was broke there in round 8 at Bark River, and he says he's coming back for vengeance, although unfortunately for him this weekend hasn't kicked off the right way for him. Practice, he had a universal joint issue, the axle broke in qualifying, and now he is out to prove that he still has what it takes to get on top of the box.
He's got about 1 driver. Right now he's trying to get by Cody, who I saw a little puff of smoke coming out of Cody's truck just a moment ago, too. And again, those can be overflows, certain things that might not be terminal, but you don't want to see smoke really at any time.
Right, and right now the track is starting to come together where guys can move around, look inside, look outside, and as it gets rougher, we've seen this track is so rough that it's taken quite a few vehicles out, so you have to preserve your vehicle to finish first. Your first must finish.
And you see on the outside, Cody get a little too wide that time, and his brother trying to pounce on it, takes a very good tight inside line, definitely didn't lose ground. I liked how Kyle did something different and almost paid off.
Yeah, Kyle has been very tricky all year long, very smart, very smooth, doesn't seem to overdrive the truck, doesn't seem to beat the truck up too much, and now it looks like he's using a little bit more of the course, even though right there, a small mistake over rotation, he was getting roosted from his brother Cody, and now he's trying to work his way back up.
Both drivers coming up that double a little bit short. You see Cam Reimers exiting your picture right there on the Liquid Ridge Cooper Tires entry. Also, we want to talk about the tire war that's happening out here. Arturo's won 1 race this year. We've seen Cooper Tires winning more of the others. Kendo's been up in the front, but with them being DOT tires, it's really a bragging rights game on who's got the better tire on the most stock-like truck.
Yeah, we've looked and we've talked about the DOT tire versus the project tire. A lot of times that the manufacturers will say that they use the project tire to develop, but I think that there's a great opportunity to really test your equipment, and where else are you going to run it this hard other than the Baja 1000?
Let's go to Kate Osborne.
You know, Cody was one of those guys who today, I literally saw him trackside maybe 3-4 times. He was watching the buggies, he was watching those UTVs, he was watching Perforce. He wanted to know where those holes were developing and where those passing locations were, as he knew this track was going to be hard for just that.
Cody on the outside there, and Kyle still trying to stick that nose underneath. But when it's your brother, also you kind of look at things differently too, don't you? A guy on the same team.
Yeah, when I've had teammates in the past, a lot of times you hit them harder than anybody else because you want to be the number 1 guy under the tent. But these two brothers work very well together. Cody's doing a great job, and he's not cutting Kyle off and back up front with Andrew Carlson, who's running a very smooth and very aggressive race. But back to the Kleiman brothers, they're going to work together as much as they can. But when it comes down to it, they both want to be on top.
When you're Cam Reimers right now in second, you have a considerable advantage over that 3rd place battle. It's time to go to town and go to town as far as the books. I mean, you need to write down, okay, this line works, this one didn't. This one's looking better. This one not so much. You've got to go to school right now.
Right, and Andrew seems to be working the track very well. He's using the inside where he needs to, makes a small mistake, enters low, exits high, and now Cam Reimers makes up all that. He lost about 5 car lengths. He made it all back up in 1 turn.
that a case you think of him just making a mistake, or did Andrew try and look for something that just wasn't there?
Well, it looks like Cam really has pulled it back in, so we still got a few more laps before the competition, or actually one more lap before the competition yellow, and now Andrew Carlson pulls it back out.
Cam Reimer's coming off of a terrible Bark River where, I mean, he usually finishes every race, and he didn't finish either race. For one reason or another, had to switch engines between round 7 and round 8, and then had some contact that really knocked him out of the round 8 race at Bark River.
But as we talked about in the opening, how the dirt is changing the track, and here we see the competition yellow go out. But to finish that thought, is that it's the track that's having these guys make mistakes, and so we're seeing them going back and forth, where sometimes Andrew's making a mistake, and the other times Reimers is making a mistake.
Carlson, Reimers climbing your top 3, but we're only halfway through this Pro Light race.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Andrew Carlson has yet to win here in TORC for 2017 in the Pro Light division. Right now, he leads the field as they head to the second half of this race.
Andrew Carlson was very strong at the opening round at ERX, and he's shown signs of being the fastest guy on the track, but this is the first time that he's had open air, and it seems like he's one of those drivers that when he gets out in front, he really gains a lot of confidence by open air. Some people start to fall out.
Andrew Carlson has won in Pro 2-wheel drive. He has not won in Pro Lights for 2017, and he's halfway through this race, and he's doing just that. But look at how close they are. They're starting nose to tail. Cam Reimers, Cody Kleiman, Kyle Kleiman, Chad Rayford. There's your top 5, and green means go. 5 laps down, 6 more to go.
Andrew with a great jump, actually pulled about 2 car lengths. We see the Kleiman brothers looking to the inside, a little bumping and banging, but it's Andrew Carlson that's able to pull it off clean.
Oh, the 28 having problems there. That's Sorek. He has, it looks like he's stopped, hoping he can get things back going again, because he's stuck in the middle of the track. They might have to stop this race. And landed a little crooked. You can see how rough it's gotten, Ricky. This second half is going to be bumpy.
Here we see the Kleiman brothers bumping back and forth. Kyle getting past Cody, but Cody getting back around the inside, back into second, back into third place.
I said you can't brake when you're up in the air, and the attitude of these trucks going back and forth. Usually we're talking about jumps in off-road racing. Here we're talking about braking bumps.
Exactly, but you can time them. You can use them like a little double. And here we're seeing some smoke coming off of Kyle Kleiman. It doesn't seem to really be a problem. It might just be a tire rubbing. But back to finish, my thought is that you can use them as you change the rhythm up. You can bounce and double jump them in as Andrew Carlson starts to run away.
I like that thought. Let's go to Kate Osborne.
You know, actually talking to Andrew after Bark River when he won Pro 2, I said, how do you feel now about Pro Light? He says he actually feels like there's a little more pressure on him because he now knows what he's capable of doing. He said, we will park that Pro 2 to get the Pro Light figured out. He said that is his ultimate goal this season, is to be on top in that Pro Light.
I don't know about parking one to get ready for the other, because one doesn't have anything to do. They just don't have a good handle on it. But I don't know, parking one's going to give you a better handle on this.
Line's completely different on that entry. Andrew Carlson looking at the inside. Cam Reimers looking at the outside. Oh, but Cam gets hit with a whoop. It swaps him back and forth, and he loses everything that he gained going into the last turn.
Driving out, trying to get a little slicker, and you see Cody climbing, Kyle climbing now, all up on the back end of Cam Reimers and that Liquid Rich Henry, both Ponzi trucks. Again, the driver in fourth is your series points leader right now, and he's having a hard time getting by his brother. It's a tighter track, but we've seen guys pass before.
Yeah, we're seeing passing, and that's when the drivers are making mistakes. When you watch Cam, he's able to catch up to Andrew, but Andrew is running a very, very strong race, and he's not making a lot of mistakes. He's not trying. He's not being super aggressive.
And with these two, I'm seeing Cody really hasn't made too many mistakes. The one he did, he jumped back into position, but Kyle just can't get around. He's trying to set up, running it a little harder, like right here. Watch this case. And he's pretty much staying in the same line.
Yeah, Cody's just running a very solid line, and he's giving Kyle the inside and the outside, but he's making his truck very wide. Not intentionally, just running a very comfortable line.
Stay in the middle, holding middle ground. And there's where the trucks get kicked up. And that was a great line by Cody, but he got a little too much grip, almost rolled her over.
Yeah, bicycle, but he was able to hold on to it. Kyle looking to the inside, but then gets off in the soft fluff and loses his drive.
See the dust, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's how you prepare.
A little bit of dust. So looking back at Cody as he comes into the last corner, he comes in, bounces, hawks to the side, and you can see goes up on the bicycle, very quick to catch it, but then doesn't move out too wide. And you see Kyle on the inside, over rotates, then gets up in the soft ground, and then loses all the ground that he made.
He wasn't able to take advantage because he made that bobble himself. He had his inside wheels underneath that berm, so couldn't do anything there. Kyle climbing to get it, and right now he'll lose 2 points to Cody if it stays like it is, but a couple more points to Reimers. And Reimers really felt, who sits in second right now, he really felt that he missed his shot at Bark River with that mechanical. Because Kyle also, having problems.
Yep.
And you're not going to give, them that many opportunities to take advantage of a points battle. And every race means another opportunity that, you can only make up so much ground.
Everyone running a little bit different line. You can see how much it's bouncing around. The braking bumps are getting so big coming into that final turn as they come into the sand section. But Kyle is right there, but he'll gain, then he'll lose a little bit. And that's what we talked about in the opening of the show, is this track is dictating the pace.
Cody climbing, Kyle climbing, both having their birthdays about a week ago. Cody now 26, Kyle 22 years of age. You're seeing Cam Reimers working his way up, the number 21, born back in '88. It means he's 27 years old, the Iowan, chasing down Andrew Carlson, a winner in Pro 2 back at Bark River, trying to finally get that Pro Light win here in 2017. His first victory is back in ERX, his own backyard last year.
Well, and this is, if you're going to pick a track that's similar to ERX, I'm going to have to say Redbud, because it's very rough. He works with Keith Stamper that works on the suspension, works on the chassis, builds the trucks, so he's going to make a truck that handles very well.
Deeper as well, sandy.
Exactly. The sand section is very much like that. You can see Andrew looking to the inside, even though he bounced a little bit, and Cam Reimers looking to the outside, using the cushion, trying to make some ground on him, and he's getting closer, but he's going to have to rely on a mistake from Andrew Carlson.
And he's been making mistakes. It's the closest we've seen, and especially this late in the race. When you start getting in that rearview mirror, then I think they do see him, it starts getting your head a bit.
Well, when you know a guy that's making ground on you, but we saw this at ERX with Andrew Carlson. He, as I said before, he does very well up front, and he likes clear air. And you can see that Cam Reimers is able to make some ground, but Andrew's not making mistakes, so he's running a perfect race at this point.
Turo Tires out in front, the 151 of Andrew Carlson out of Elk River, Minnesota. One more lap to go when he heads up that hill. That's what that white flag means. Can he hold on? You see Cody still leads Kyle climbing back there in third.
Well, Cody and Kyle going back and forth, and we just got report that if there is a confrontation on the track, they're going down to the bouncy house in turn one, and they got to put on some balloons and go for it.
You and I got to race at the bouncy house after this, but look at Andrew Carlson. Now he's separating. He's still pushing, Ricky. I like that. You don't want to push off the track, but he is still. He's not taking those low lines. There's no reason to, because somebody's not that tight to you.
He's got a great rhythm right now going. You can watch as he comes in. He rotates, but not over-rotates. He's got a good feel for the traction, how he's applying the throttle, coming off the corners. He's using the right amount of the berms, but as you can see, not over-driving the hole. So Andrew Carlson is doing a great job at this point.
Carlson started off pretty well, a 5th in the first round. He comes back with a 2nd at Elk River. Now he's on his way to his first win in Pro Light here this year. And you know the Pro 2 win back at Mark River has to give confidence. Although they're not the same trucks, winning breeds winning. And that's exactly what he has in front of him. One more turn, a right-hander, and all the problems of this year, they're past. We now have a new winner in Pro Lights, and that's Andrew Carlson. Taking the victory a few seconds ahead of Cam Reimers. Cody Klein is going to finish 3rd. Back-to-back podiums for him, and we'll hear from our top 3 when we return, and we'll get to hear from the new winner in Carlson.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter. So count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Look at all the people out there having a good time here in Redbud. Again, the crowds will build as they see what kind of racing they have here in short course off-road truck racing at Redbud. And like Ricky said earlier today, there's rumor that they're gonna tear down this track no matter what. I think it's going to turn into the parking lot again, but they may build another track here, and that would be awesome, and more natural amphitheater seating. I think there's a lot of room and a lot of availability here to do that.
Well, and it gives it a motocross feel. You know, we have the Crandons, the Bark Rivers, those things have been around for a long time, and they're very fast, very smooth. They get some big potholes and stuff in it during the race, but not like this. They don't get as rough. Not like ERX and not like that. So I think it'd be a great variety to have 2 more rough motocross style tracks and 2 more drifting tracks. So it all depends on where the future goes. It's looking great for TORC, and they're planning on the next year, next season.
And don't forget to stop and see Tim and Timmy from Racing Ready to pick up the Rumble of Redbud T-shirts.
The fans on hand here at Redbud, welcome back to TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. The Pro Light division is over. The 24-year-old out of Elk River, Minnesota, Andrew Carlson takes the victory. The 151 comes out on top. Let's go down to Kate Osborne.
Well, this is for sure the cleanest truck we're probably going to see all day long. That white is still white, leading the whole way, getting his first Pro Light win of the 2017 season. And by the way, a wedding gift. Congratulations on that as well. But I got to say, Andrew, you are being told in your ear, stay cool, calm, and collected. Drive smart is exactly what they kept saying to you. And you did that even when Cam was in your rear view. How did you do that?
Yeah, you know, just got to give it up to Turo Tires. I knew the whole shot was going to be a huge part of this race because a little tougher to pass, but it's a super technical course. So, like in Pro 4, we saw a lot of mess-ups and a lot of guys fall back. So I knew if I could get out front and just run a clean race, I could do it. So just hats off to my team. Everyone, the truck was awesome, dude. Hooked up beyond all belief. I just had a fun race. You know, I was a little down on the Pro Light after Bark River. I had a tough weekend in it and, you know, was a little high on the Pro 2. But I got here and I looked at the track. I said, dude, this is like my favorite Pro Light track of all. So love the technical, the sand section. You know, it's kind of a page out of the ERX book. But super, super pumped to get on top of the box here. And just got to thank everyone on the team, AMSOIL, everyone at the shop that's been wrenching, Jesse, Derek, Race, Stamper, and just my new wife, and yeah, everyone in CM. Just awesome weekend.
He is doing and taking those takeaways into Pro 2, which he's also actually starting on the pole for as well.
Thanks, Kate. And yeah, and taking a page out of the ERX book, he talks about that deep sand at ERX. We'll go back there, have to finish round 4 at the end of the season as well. Carlson, Reimers, Kleiman. It's Cody who comes out on top, the series points leader with the red background. Kyle finishing back in 4th place. So these guys making up a little ground. We still have quite a few races left in 2017. Cam Reimers, he had a rough Bark River, Kate, but he finally gets things going. I know he wanted to win, though.
He did want to win. However, you got to be happy with the best podium yet of your 2017 season. So congratulations for that. What are some of your takeaways? As you just said, you were kind of dealing with a couple of issues there.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those races to where I told my crew over the radio after it, I said, that's what a qualifying spot gets you. I mean, we were fast this morning. It started us in 2nd there. Andrew was running a good race. I mean, I could feel like I could pressure him into some mistakes, but at the same time, I was charging so hard, I'd make a mistake that cost me 6 truck lengths. I could reel him back in. I just didn't know what to do once I got there. It was just kind of a tough track to be clean on and really stick it in. And when he'd make a mistake, it was like I was right there, and it was really tough to get around. But yeah, I mean, overall great day. It's the best finish of the year. I really want that win. But these Cooper tires were hooked up in every condition. It was sandy, it was hard pack, it was everything. So huge thanks to the guys at Liquid Wrench. They've been behind me for 3 years now, and I can't thank them enough. McGonigal engine, Method race wheels, SSI decals, Kicker Audio, Maxon Motorsports, Forest County Potawatomi, AMSOIL, everyone, Rugged Radios that helps this team out. We really appreciate it. And we're going to go back to the drawing board and try to get a win tomorrow.
All right, we'll see if that happens. Cam Reimers, congratulations on the 2nd.
Strong run by Cam. Don't drink the Liquid Wrench, Cam. It's great on nuts and bolts, but not so good in the body. As you see the series points now. Look, tied for 3rd, I think, 23, 23, and 33. Carlson helping out his chances, and Kyle Kleiman loses a couple to Cody. Cody, again, little by little, and there's several races still left. Kate Osborne, you saying there's a chance?
I think we're saying there's a chance. Another one for Cody Kleiman, that is 3rd place, another podium for you, another way to show confidence in yourself. How confident are you actually feeling?
Awesome. I feel great with the truck. The track was brutal, but it was a blast. Something different. It's not like a typical Cranenburg River. It shows the drivers, and it's hard to pass out there, but we still had fun and ended up on the box. It's pretty cool.
All right, Cody Kleiman, 3rd place here.
Thanks, Kate. Congratulations to Cody. But it's not all about trucks at TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. We also have UTVs. Those ultimate, what's the UTV stand for? I can't remember the UT. Pro Stock starts off, though, with Zach Martin getting the whole shot. CJ Greaves in 2nd and Blake Enola in 3rd. But it stayed this way for most of the first half of the race, RJ, and Zach had one heck of a race, and CJ diving in pretty much every turn.
He was looking inside, looking outside, taking another look at it, shoots to the outside, comes to the inside, but then Zach Martin got smart and started holding down the inside, and CJ wasn't able to make the room. But then coming into the last sand pit area, Zach makes one small mistake, and CJ gets to the inside, and that works in. Here he holds the outside really tight, but on the outside of the right going into a left-hander, where does that put him?
Yeah, on the inside. Yep, and that's what it took for CJ Greaves to take over that lead. And literally, I thought 2 car lengths, it's not going to be close, but look at this. I mean, a full-on drag race, NHRA style going up, and CJ barely able to take by about a half a UTV length over Zach Martin in 2nd. Jake Lunderby would finish 3rd. The Pro Mod's a little different. Now, they're able to land over these doubles. They're able to make the downsides here.
Now, there was a whole bunch, you can see there was a whole bunch of problems going on, and here we see drivers getting stuck. There was a lot of trouble going on in turn 1, but then we saw the drivers start to break away. We saw another guys collecting into each other, but it was Tim Farr that held the lead almost the whole time, and then he had a problem, and then Zakowski Luberg was in front, then he broke as well.
Everybody. I mean, we saw smoke out of Luberg. We saw the pull-off by Farr, but then we start seeing guys work their way up. Travis Pointer, I mean, the series points leader, he was one of the ones stuck early on. He was out of it, but you're seeing guys like Rodney Van Eperen, and he pulled out and really held off in the last second. CJ Greaves and Kyle Cheney. Cheney, I mean, watch out for that guy. If he wasn't stuck early on, he might have had a chance of winning this race. One more race to go. The largest amount of entries, the Pro 2-wheel drives, a lot of horsepower, a lot of suspension, and a lot of fun for these drivers lie ahead.
Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper. An American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by VP Racing Fuels, the official fuel of TORC, and by Atturo, the tire with the style you want and the performance you need.
Alrighty, welcome back. This is Ricky Johnson and Robbie Floyd, and here we are back at TORC, the Off-Road Championship at Red Bud International Off-Road Raceway. And we've seen some great racing all day long, but we want to talk about a cool little award that the guys from Vision Wheels have put together. It's called the Bad Mofo Award. And right there, we could see Andrew Carlson. He is a possibility of winning both classes because he starts on the pole on Pro 2 as well as he just did in the Pro Light. So winning his first Pro Light race, Andrew Carlson is definitely in the running. But we saw some great racing in Pro Light. And we're looking forward to the final event is going to be the Pro 2 division. Alrighty, as my cohort starts to come back, and you can see the track has been great. They got a lot of water down, and they've lightened up the water in the far corners. In the upper spot where you can see it at the bottom here, these hairpin corners have been very slick, and it's been giving guys a hard time the first couple laps. You can see that it's just a little bit of shine. You think it might not be that bad.
Yeah.
When you come rolling in with 750 horsepower, you throw that thing sideways, and next thing you know, you're on an ice skating rink. So very, very hard to hang on the first couple laps. And as Andrew Carlson said earlier, that the track is really bitey. It's really, you got to try to not make mistakes.
Yeah, and it's as a racer, it's as smooth as it's going to get that first lap, and then from there on out, I mean, you just got to. And you talked about it, I think early on in the races, you've got to look far enough ahead because if you're looking down, especially with the little kickers and stuff, you're already over them. You can't react that fast. It's already happened.
Yeah, it happens really quick out there. So you want to make sure that you're projecting as far as you can forward. They have the coolest water trucks here. I got to say that at Red Bud. We've had a couple instances where they've gotten stuck in some of the sand pits and stuff like that, but. Let's take a moment and just throw a shout out to our family members that are watching. I'm sorry that we're not home with them. My wife Steph is at home with Jake and Cassidy, and so we want to make sure that we throw a little love and support out to our family members that are at home while we're here doing our job.
Where's Jake the Snake?
Jake the Snake is back at home. He's working in L.A., loving it. My daughter Cassidy is working, believe it or not, at Red Bull, and so she's digging that spot as well, having a good time with the apparel division. And my wife just does everything
making
at home.
Sandwiches. I just picked up one.
Exactly. So she definitely holds everything down. So as we travel, I know that it's hard for her to not be here to watch Luke race, but it's awesome that I'm here with Luke and that she's at home with Jake and Cassidy.
Hey, back off.
Okay.
Speaking of that, how hard was it for you to see Luke win? You weren't there, or was it the Y? You were there. We called the race when he won at the last one. How hard is it when you're away and you see him win? Or is it harder to see him lose when you're away?
Well, it's always hard to see him lose. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to see your kids go through any pain, whether it be they didn't get into the school that they were trying to get into, that they didn't make the championship lacrosse score, or they didn't, just whatever it might be. So you hate to see your kids go through tough times, but that's part of it. That's you don't want to see. You know, I don't want to see Luke, when it comes to racing, just dominate everything, and I don't want to see our kids pushed.
Part of you doesn't want to see him dominate everything. The other part of you says, I want you to stomp a hole in them every single race.
Well,
I know you, Ricky.
That's what you want. You want if you're watching racing, you want your kid to dominate everything. You watch lacrosse, you want him to, you know, be the get the ball, run through everybody, score all the shots, be the ultimate defense man, be everything. And but then once you learn to respect the games and what they're doing, whether it be barrel racing with Cassidy or lacrosse with Jake, they have their spot and they do their thing. And so as long as they're trying to give it all, I'm in.
And it makes me think back. I mean, you're out here trying to make this quite the creative. Now I know where Sassity gets it from. You're trying to make this, you know, go all pretty. The Bad Mofo Award, Vision Wheels. We'll find out after this race who will win the Vision Wheels Bad Mofo Award. $250 plus this Bad Mofo wallet with the Rumble on there. And yeah, I now know where she gets it.
It's from you. I'm very creative. I get that from my mom. You know, they would say my mom was crafty. So Big D, thank you for your skills. I want to pretty this up for Red Sanders and all the guys from Vision. They're doing a great job. So I think it looks a little more impressive that way.
It does look good. And when I look at the results, I was trying to figure out which round you did win. And it's the round that Luke won the Bad Mofo Award back in Chicago. I believe he won it the first day, but he comes back and wins on the second round at Chicago in the Pro 2. And that's the one you weren't there. Wife, kids, you were having to take care of. Jake graduated, if I remember right. But,
exactly.
But it had to be hard because we and you didn't know how long that your son was going to be able to race in this series. And we'll see that on the Young Gun show. So a lot was on the line, and him to come out and win like that, that's a lot of pressure.
It's still up in the air. And that's the thing that the Young Gun show is going to show you guys is the struggles that the families go through to get them there. You know, some people might think, oh, it's great. Luke Johnson, you know, is my son and this. I can.
His dad's rich.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, his dad's rich. He can pay for him to do it. No, it's coming out of his pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we work really hard as a family. You know, Steph obviously does all the books and everything, keeps everything running as sound as possible. And then you got two, you know, guys banging out the walls, and Luke and I, and then you got to try to balance Cassidy and Jake as well. But
there's LJ14 right in the middle.
So he's getting ready. It's going to be interesting what he does when it comes to this start. Andrew Carlson is coming off a win. He starts up front again. So in both scenarios, Cam Reimers qualified first, drew a 2. Luke Johnson, which it bothers my son when I call him Luke Johnson, but I got to be professional. Luke Johnson was fast qualifier, and he drew a 2 as well. So the planets are aligning for Andrew Carlson right now. He's won his first Pro 2 or Pro Light race of the year. He comes off a Pro 2 win back at Bark River. So he just got married. So the kid is on a high right now. So that, once again, that confidence animal in that ball is rolling really strong for Andrew Carlson.
Big Mo, Denny Stevenson announced many a Supercross and Raincross with him. He said, you want Big Mo on your side. And right now, Andrew kind of has Big Mo on his side. But so does Luke Johnson. I mean, he's coming off back-to-back wins or a second and a first, but taking over the points lead. So everything seems to be going his way. Big question we haven't even talked about is Brad Lovell. What's happening with him? Because we saw him break earlier. Does he have things sorted? We saw several breaks in Bark River. I mean, you just felt for Lovell. That's how Luke didn't want to take the points.
No, and you don't want to. You want to race. You want to beat the guy, because then when you sit down at the end of the day, you can say that we lined up, we raced hard, and I was able to beat you. And then this morning, and it continues to go on, is that Brad Lovell goes out. He gets one lap in, warming up, and next thing you know, looking at him there with the AMSOIL number 44 Ford, he's starting all the way in the back. So he's got to keep his nose clean. You know he's going to be there at the midway point. So don't count him out. Never count him out. He's a past champion. He's a very, very strong racer, and even though he's had some bad luck, we cannot count him out.
You're exactly right. But what we can count on is a break coming up right now. Relax just a little bit, because the Pro 2-wheel drives are coming up here in just a moment from Redbud.
Redbud!
Ricky Johnson, Robbie Floyd, Kate Osborne. We'll be back in just a bit.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by Vision. From high-speed desert racing in Baja to short course carnage, Vision has arrived. And by Maxxis, built for adventure.
Welcome back. You know, I heard that the other day that they're going to do that ESPN The Ocho one time. I don't know, Cotton. As a bold strategy, Cotton, as you see them doing the preparations, as our producer Tim Watson loves the tractors. I mean, he actually bought one of those Caterpillar tractors and just practices around the house.
He just got married last weekend. I don't think they went on an overnight honeymoon, but he's having a hell of a honeymoon weekend here with 2 pole positions and 1 win so far. He'll be starting to pull that 151. Alongside of him will be Luke Johnson, our current points leader, in the number 14. Starting in row 2 will be the 20, the Monster Energy Mitch Dorr. In the 48 up Tim Nelson. In row 3.
Yeah, as you're seeing the track work about to be finished up here, and Jeff Nordstrom, kudos to the crew. This wasn't a track a few days ago, Ricky, and they have really done a lot of work.
Well, and Jeff comes from a motocross background. He grew up in El Cajon, the Cajon Zone.
Yep.
We actually went to high school with my wife Stephanie at Grossmont High, and he started in construction, started building tracks, was racing motocross himself. So there's nobody that can build a track better. Now, what's great about this Redbud track is that it's new and it's changing all the time. So Jeff's able to go out there, watch, and then as the trends go, change it. So when we talked before, we said, hey, look and see where the drivers are going, and if they're not using the whole track, start doing something to make it more attractive over there.
Those little fingers like you talked about, that could have been just a straight turn, but when you put those fingers, it makes that fast line go a little wider, and that opens up that inside line. Little things like that mean a lot.
Absolutely. And so because if you don't have a berm or some things to go lean on out there, you need something to distract people from using the inside, and what my friend Bubba Shobi called a pole hugger. You just stay right on the inside, and no one can get around. Who said that? Bubba Shobi.
Oh, the flat tracker.
They called him the pole hugger because he would just get the start and he'd stay right down on the bottom, make you run the cushion to go around the outside of him. So you want to make a track that the fast way is around the outside.
What a beautiful track it is here at Redbud. TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. Stop number 9, or round number 9, they call it the Rumble at Redbud. We're down to our final race of the afternoon, the Pro 2-wheel drives. Let's bump up the horsepower from what we saw in the Pro Lights. Let's bump up the suspension. Yep, they're still on DOT tires, but these are fast trucks with limited tires.
Yeah, and they made a rule change. They went to a max of a 410 steel block where they could have aluminum 430s in it. So it's brought the horsepower down 7 to 710 horsepower, 20 inches of wheel travel, 4,000 pounds is the minimum, with a wheelbase of 117 inches with a DOT 35-inch tire.
You see the staggered start right there on the beginning of the race. This is a standing start, much like you see at Crandon, but a much shorter run-up. You see out in front Andrew Carlson. Now they're staggered going inside to out, but there's a second row as well. But our flagman is in a different position, or compared to what he would normally be. Yellow's fine. When he throws that green up, it'll be time to go. Time to go for everybody, but Andrew's got a good jump. Luke Johnson, number 14, has pulled up a full truck length, but he's going to be in a bad position here. That enables the 48 to close in just a little bit. Tim Nelson, he's back in third.
A very, very clean start for everybody. A lot of people were concerned about that. It's a very tight run, but if you notice that they moved them closer so they didn't have the high speeds. Andrew Carlson skying it, sending it over there. Luke Johnson in second place, and now Brad Level going to work from the back.
Driver back in fourth or fifth. I couldn't tell who it was, but it was He was going to Indonesia. I mean, he had a nice front end dip down there. Andrew Carlson, is he really going this fast right now? But I guess it's an advantage when you just come off the track in pro light.
Well, his adrenaline's up, everything is going, and he just got off of this dirt, so he knows where it's slick and where it's not. We're taking a look now at Luke Johnson, who's running the inside. You can see that they've done a good job breaking up the track so it's not so slick in these upper corners.
Cody Conrad in the top 5 there, the number 97 out of Wisconsin, Kendall Tire, Conrad's Auto Salvage. He's looking racy as well. Dropping down is Carlson. Again, this is as flat as the track, or that wasn't Carlson, that might have been Mitch Dorr. The track's as flat as it's going to be right now. It's just going to get rougher and rougher and rougher.
Mitch Dorr in the monster entry, and right behind him we see Brad Lovell has worked his way up into the top 5.
You see Nelson, Conrad there, Martin Peterson, Brad Lovell. Lovell's all over the place, and he was the series points leader until the last round, and that should be the battle for 5th and 6th place. But the Amsoil truck had some mechanical difficulties, something we just didn't see out of the first half of this season, and all of a sudden at Park River, all hell broke loose, and he just couldn't do anything right.
Yeah, he was having a hard time. Here we see that he got into the back of Dorr a little bit, bending the hood up a little bit, so he's got to be patient because he has that yellow flag coming part way, and out front right now on a tear is Andrew Carlson.
Let's go to Kate Osborne.
Going back to Brad Lovell there, he said that he lost power steering in round 8, or so he thought. Had the engine taken apart, new power steering put in. Then, unfortunately, the issues still came about. Now they think he's now having alternator issues. And this is something that it's really tough on him as he had such good momentum here at the start of the season.
Yeah, just little mechanical gremlins that keep bothering him, Kate, and not what he needs, especially if he's going to win the championship. He needs to be out in front right now, or at least top 2 or 3 spots to still have a chance to win this race, because we still have that competition caution after lap 5.
Yeah, we have a very tight race between Nelson, Conrad, and Dorr. Actually, I'm sorry, Conrad, Dorr, and Lovell. They're going back and forth, and right now Brad just doesn't seem like he's able to get his rhythm. I think as the track starts to tack up and you can use outside and inside lines, you're going to start to see him make a move.
First one on the list is Mitch Dorr, the former Super Stock Truck Champion in Midwest Off-Road Racing. Now he has Lovell to the inside. Lovell, drastic inside. That is not cutting the track. That tire is actually the inside line, but you get a lot of speed with those right side tires up in the ground. It might want to throw you over.
And Mitch Dorr coming back to the inside. That was a gentleman move by Mitch Dorr right there. Held it back and did not get into the back of Brad Lovell. So Lovell is on his move forward.
He was about halfway even with him too. Sometimes if you get even with that Dorr, you can be okay. But not the case. Dorr just dropped back 1 spot. Tim Nelson into 48 now, just in front. Automatic transmission design, work boot doctor. He's doing a good job, that Kendall Tire entry. Again, you know, when you're holding off Brad Lovell, a winner here in TORC, a TORC Series champion before, that 44 is hard to keep off for long.
He's working his way up to the front, and you can see as he starts to go to work on Conrad, he's been using this top line to try to get to the inside, but now we see him shoot to the outside. He's going to do it over and under.
I'm saying under.
when I called it, I called it. He was shot to the outside, shoot to the inside. Now see if he uses the same move right down to the far inside.
Right
and
now,
he does.
Carlson, Johnson, Nelson, Conrad, and there goes Brad Lovell trying to get by. Not able to do it right there. Cody Conrad. Yeah, he's going to be on the outside. He's going to square it up, hoping that Conrad holds that inside line. He can just drive around the outside because the right-hander's coming next, and that's exactly what happened.
Exactly. So he used the outside to his advantage. Conrad was holding the inside, but Brad Lovell was able to carry his momentum around the outside and move himself into 4th place.
Tim Nelson next on the list. I know I was talking about Nelson earlier. He's been in 3rd spot for first half of this race, and the competition caution come out after lap number 5. Hails out of Ohio. You see those white racing stripes. He gets a little crooked, and that gives the inside line to Lovell. Lovell picks it off again.
Yeah, picks up another position. And up front, what we can't see on the TV right now as we watch the race for 3rd place is Andrew Carlson has got a huge lead.
Yeah, we've got a heck of a race here for 3rd, and now Lovell takes over that spot. has to get out of it. Lovell now into third place.
This has been kind of a blessing for Lovell because he cannot worry about so many things. All he can think about is just racing and finding traction right now. So he is going to be a definite threat when it comes to the second round.
See Nelson dropping back into fourth now. Conrad fifth, Mitch Dorr sixth. Hanegraaff, the Allies for Autism truck, back in seventh place. Been following him on Facebook, and there's a story with each and every one of these guys, and Brad Lovell's story is generally, I can drive anything, anywhere, and he's done just that. He'll rock crawl you, he'll off-road you, he'll cruise around the hills of Colorado. Right now he's cruised up to third place after starting well back in the pack. Brad Lovell started in 8th, he's currently in 3rd. He's definitely on the move.
Well, he's definitely on the move, and someone who doesn't seem to be moving and chasing down Andrew Carlson is Luke Johnson. You can see Andrew Carlson here up front has a commanding lead, running very, very strong, but Luke doesn't seem to have the ticket for it. As we go to the competition yellow, you can see how much gap there is between first and second. Was he holding back? But we're going to see a great race with these top 3 drivers going into the last half.
Or was Luke Johnson playing possum? We'll have to find out. But you can't play possum the second half of this race. Carlson has been a runway. Johnson, he's been in second all by himself. But Brad Lovell has been the man on the move, and he's currently in 3rd.
Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Things are starting to dry up a bit here, and things are going to change for the second half of this race of the Pro 2-wheel drive division. Ricky, as a father next to me, you're going like, what the heck is going on with my son back there in second, because Andrew Carlson's put on a clinic.
Well, Andrew Carlson is running unbelievably strong and fast, and Luke was actually faster in practice. So I don't know if something is wrong, if he's, playing possum a little bit. We're about to find out, because he's got a very angry and a very fast Brad Lovell on his bumper. So we've got the guys that have been running quick, 1, 2, and 3. So we have us a race on our hands for sure.
The Toyota Escondado Pace Truck leads the way for the second half of TORC the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. The Rumble at Redbud Pro 2-wheel drives start nose to tail. 5 laps down, 6 to go. Andrew Carlson, fresh off a victory in Pro Lights. He's out in front in the Pro 2s as well. Can he get his first sweep in competition here today? Carlson's on in that acceleration zone. It's up to Luke Johnson to get by. Brad Lovell's worked his way from 8th into 3rd. Don't count him out.
Andrew Carlson with a great jump. Luke actually leaving a little bit on the table there, but let's see if he can pick up the pace on the second half, because Andrew Carlson put on a click in the first half, and now he's got Brad Lovell right behind him. So you see Luke Johnson using some different lines. Let's see what's going to work.
At first I questioned, was Luke playing possum? Was he slowing down knowing he had a big gap, and it didn't make a difference? Now we're about to find out, but I'm telling you, Andrew's got a fast truck. The way he's able to just charge and leave, even for a bit, that tells me his truck's right.
Right, I think this is going to be some of the best racing of the day. The track's getting really rough. Guys are pushing harder. We're going to see who can put it together together. Right now, Andrew Carlson's doing it.
Kate, you have more on Luke?
I do. He says that left front brake pulls really hard and he feels like he is sliding. However, one good thing is in that first half, he was getting faster each and every lap.
So if the left front brake is pulling hard, then that'll tend to want to bring you around pretty quick if you're on those left-hand turns.
Right, if you see right there, Luke, as he does a pendulum, gets up on the bicycle a little bit, you have trouble braking in a straight line, but he does have a left pedal, so he can use just a rear. But when you come in, if he brakes and he has trouble coming straight in, that's going to mess up his middle of the corner. But he's able to use the rear to rotate the back of the vehicle.
Andrew Carlson, Turo Tires, AMSOIL, Sport Tech, Best Western, his sponsors, and he's doing those sponsors right. Luke through that little chicane section, nice. And yeah, you want to know what's there, and if one side pulls a little harder than the other, you don't really know what's there. Not losing any ground that last lap, but not making up much either.
Yeah, Luke, you can see carrying the inside wheel has to rotate really early, which this track can bite you. But right now, Andrew Carlson looking good. Luke trying a different line around the inside. See if that works. You see the outside bit Andrew a little bit, then Luke losing the back end a little bit. So two different reactions, both really not a mistake, but the track bit them in two different ways.
You're talking about biting it bit. Johnny Greaves doing what he's doing. I mean, it literally brought him around. Luke actually stayed in it a little bit better here in Pro 2-wheel drives. But look, everything's starting to dust up, and you would have to think that Brad Lovell would have set that truck up for the first half of this race, because you don't want to be chasing, making those 5 passes at the end.
Well, yeah, you really can't set the truck up for early and late. Like you hear some of the NASCAR guys say, we're setting the truck up for a later run. You gotta run 100% the whole race. And Brad used a lot of the truck up, getting by everybody, and he's still doing a great job keeping these two in tow.
Little swap there coming down the downhill, and that's one of the things, and the camera only shows so much. Uphills and downhill, especially right here, very drastic.
Wow, Luke Johnson looking at the inside. He does get through there.
Keep it up, Ricky. I know you're pulling for your boy, but I mean, you see Johnson around the outside, and now, you know what? That was a case where it looked like Carlson got into him, didn't want to let his foot out of the throttle, and that cost Johnson that time, and now Lobo goes by.
Well, the same thing happened at Elk River a couple years ago. Luke Johnson got to the inside. Now he makes a mistake. Now he's trying to hang on to third position, and then Andrew Carlson retaliated and spun him. So this is not a father thing. This is a racing thing. They're bumping back and forth, and right there, Andrew Carlson got the better of Luke Johnson.
And typically this year, I know the race you're talking about, it was last year at Elk River. That's the one thing with Andrew this year. He'd been a little less aggressive. And just wait till later. You'll have that chance. He didn't want to wait at all this time, and he kept his foot in it, and I think it caused
Well,
Luke.
as we see, Luke Johnson's on the outside. They get sideways. It's not as bad as I anticipated. What it did is it locked up Luke Johnson's thing, so I really want to say that was not a retaliation on Carlson. What happened, that was a racing deal. They were side by side, and when Andrew's car jumped up on top of it, locked up Luke Johnson's inside wheel and rotated him around. So it was not a dirty move. That was just a racing move.
It was a position that time where Andrew was just in a better spot than Luke was.
It was a situation where the tire, when they got together, he crawled on top of Luke's inside tire and locked it up, like locking up the brake while Luke is on the gas, so he can't slide. He drives himself around. So it was just a racing situation, and that was not a retaliation.
Hey, Kate, this is exactly what Andrew Carlson wanted to do following up that Bark River win, huh? As you see Andrew Carlson going down that downhill, some distance between himself and Brad Lovell now. And he squares up that turn, keeps that right front right against the tire. Only 2 laps remaining in this Pro 2-wheel drive race. That is Keegan Kincaid's truck from last year. It was a fast truck. Setting it up is one thing. Driving it is another.
Exactly. And here we see Luke Johnson trying to find his way back.
Ricky.
He's trying to come in hard, trying to make up some time, but it looks like the clock's going to run out. He just has to live to fight another day, and Andrew Carlson has done a great job all day long. You can't take anything away from him.
And Andrew, until we saw them really get into each other at the bottom there, Andrew had a pretty good gap. I wonder if he just kept making mistakes, or was Luke really that fast? Because Luke's really that fast right now. He's closing in on Brad Lovell, but he's going to run out of time.
Yeah, we're down to 2 laps to go. There's got to be a big mistake made by somebody or something break. But right now, the way it's looking, it's going to be 1, 2, and 3 with Andrew Carlson first, with Brad Lovell second.
Doubling up. Look at that. Great shot by our cameras there off the side of the track. And 151 getting it done here. Again, following up that victory in Pro Lights, you know what the track's like, but this truck handles different. But he's got a good feel for the Pro two-wheel drives.
Yeah, he's on cruise control right now. If we had a chance to look at his lap times, he's come back a little bit. There's a very, very slim chance, only if Brad Lovell makes a mistake, that Luke Johnson can make up that second place, because these three drivers have pretty much separated themselves from the rest of the race.
And I want to point out too, Eric Ruppel not in here in the Maxxis entry, and Eric Ruppel broke this morning on that J&H Transmission A&J Landscaping. He was looking for a truck, looking for something to do to get back in here. He's second in points, and he's going to lose a lot of them today, and so unfortunately for him.
And also podium finisher Peterson.
Winner.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Peterson was he flipped yesterday in practice, and so he had to sit out today. So very, very tough break for a couple of the top guys.
One more time up that horsepower hill. A lot of horsepower, 700 plus in that entry. Andrew Carlson out of Elk River.
Brad Lovell making a small mistake. Luke Johnson making up a little bit of room, but it looks like it's going to be Andrew Carlson's day. Everything worked out, led wire to wire. I think Luke Johnson stuck a nose in there for 1 second, but Andrew Carlson taking the sweep.
Andrew Carlson's raced this truck 3 times, and he has 2 wins to his credit. Brad Lovell's going to finish in second. Luke Johnson in third. Everything is unofficial. But how about Andrew Carlson in the Pro two-wheel drive, Pro Light, winning both races he entered? I think he likes the new Red Bud.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Mattitives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Mattitives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection, and by Cooper Tires. We make tires for people, not just cars.
That's all she wrote. These fans got to see a race to the finish in all of our classes here today, and 2 of those 3 of the big boy classes, the Pro Trucks, were won by Andrew Carlson. And what a Pro 2 victory there over Brad Lovell, who had one heck of a race moving up into second, starting in 8th place. Well, Ricky, I thought we were going to go down to the victory podium. We're not going to yet. And strong run. I know you didn't want to see Luke, finish back in third the way that he did, but he definitely had a truck to be up there and win today.
Well, I mean, he drove a great race, and I'm so happy for Brad Lovell. He's had so many problems over the past couple races, and then have the trouble qualifying, and then to work his way all the way back up to second. So my hat's off to that crew. I out of words for Andrew Carlson. He went from struggling a lot to actually showing a ton of confidence. So everything is falling in the way of Andrew Carlson. Not falling in the way, it's working in the way of Andrew Carlson.
Also, Tim and Tinnery from Racing Dirty, grab that event shirt made specifically for this weekend.
Boy, I bet you Andrew Carlson wishes he had a Pro two-wheel drive at the start of the season, because he is hot right now, taking his second victory in 3 races. 2 races today here at Redbud. Andrew Carlson the winner, and he's down with Kate Osborne.
Let's go down to our winner, Andrew Carlson and Kate Osborne.
You really couldn't have a better day than what you just did, taking both Pro Light, Pro 2 wins. Both of your trucks are completely clean. Good things for your team there. But more importantly, you said that following up a win can be really challenging. What were you proving here today?
Yeah, you know, the trucks are both clean. This one's got a little bit of a bang on the side, like someone got into me there. I don't know what happened, but yeah, just a fun race. Little not as happy that they had to get into me that hard, but yeah, fun race. Just track is awesome. I love Redbud, dude, for sure. So just got to thank everyone on the team. There's 2 hole shots, Turo tires. I don't think you can say anything else. FXR got the team looking great. Everyone on the crew working hard. Got 2 trucks. It's twice the work. A lot of stuff going on, but we pulled away 2 wins. It couldn't have gone any better.
All right, as you heard him say, he loves Redbud. We can see why.
Yeah, Caden, he loves starting in first position, too, because then it's your job to hold everybody off. And he did that as you look at the unofficial results. Started in first, stayed in first. Brad Lovell, he didn't do that. He didn't start in second. He started back in 8th and worked his way into second. Congratulations goes to Brad Lovell, Luke Johnson in third as well. And that's probably that contact on the left side of Carlson. But after watching the video, he might have a different opinion, as you did, Ricky, that outcome. But let's go down to Kate Osborne with Brad Lovell. Hey, he keeps it all together in a good spot.
No doubt about it. You know, Brad, earlier today you were saying that you were working through some issues, but really, what were your true expectations coming here? Did you think you'd end up on the podium?
You know, after we had a terrible weekend in Bark River, we came out here. We had some more bad luck with losing a belt and qualifying, so we're all the way in the back. We just wanted to finish the race, and God, we did it. I had Scott Douglas, my teammate, helping me out on the radio. It was so awesome, and the whole team has been so committed through all the trouble we've had in Bark River. So to get up here on the podium and take second, we're happy with that.
All right, Brad Lovell, second place here, hopefully carrying that momentum forward.
Yeah,
round 10.
Doing all you can do, Brad Lovell, and moving up in championship point standings, moving up 2 places now into second. That's what he wanted to see, but you look at Luke Johnson with a 25-point advantage. Ricky, consistency wins championships. It may be an old adage, it may be a cliche, but Lord, it's the truth. After 9 of 14 rounds, he's in front.
Yeah, but absolutely. But my mechanic had a theory. Win every race, and the championship takes care of themselves. So I think Luke Johnson cannot points race. He's got to go for the win.
That's exactly the case. Let's go down to Luke Johnson, who finishes third.
Hey, he's finishing up right now saying, we got the fastest lap. That is a good takeaway, although third here tonight. He also had a little rubbing and bubbing there with the Carlson, but is that racing for you?
Yeah, it's racing. We're in tight and right there, and, you know, there's a lot of holes. This track's getting super rough. Redbud's done an awesome job, and this is something that we don't get at a bunch of other tracks. This thing got so gnarly by the end of the race, and hats off to these guys. I mean, we tried to fight back, you know, like you said, put up that fastest lap. This multi-cam lane laid forward was on rails. The Cooper tires are working awesome down here in this sand pit, but, you know, I can't give it up enough to my crew and everyone that came out here this weekend. Method Wheels, Baja Designs, Rugged Radios, these guys have all got me up here on the box. Wagner Shell, these guys have really got me going this season, and I'm happy to keep this points lead going.
All right, it's another podium for Luke Johnson here in 2017.
Thanks, Kate, and Luke, happy about that. Yeah, lane laid forward and multicam doing good. He has more technology than we do. We lost our timing and scoring there towards the end, but fast lap gives him something to look forward to in the next round.
Yeah, and it does. He's keeping his chin up. You know, thank God he's got a little bit more composure. I'd love to see what happened in that corner because you know, these two had some sparks going last year, and so if we can take a look at what happened in that turn to start what Andrew Carlson was talking about, because where we saw Luke Johnson spin out where they tied up with each other was not the beginning of it. It was the hit down in the sand pit, and it's. I'm not going to defend one or the other. Sometimes when you're coming in there, you miss your mark because you're bouncing and you're in the air quite a bit.
We always talk about it, and we said it, the very first thing I said at the top of the show, it's not going to be the speed, it's going to be the braking bumps that you have to deal with. And literally, this is after the fact.
So what happens is they're side by side, and then when Andrew crawls up on top, it locks up Luke's right front wheel. So Andrew's probably thinking that he's trying to run into Luke, and Luke's thinking he's running into him. So that's what happens. And here you see Luke throws it into reverse, backs it up, and then gets going. But that's not where the contact happened. It was before.
He did a good stuntman move right there.
Yeah, he did. We do that in American Off-Road, do some evasive driving
That was
techniques
it.
and stuff, and he's one of our instructors, so he knows what to do there. But I'm curious if Andrew felt that was the contact where Luke was trying to drive into him, or if where Luke I think bounced into him into the corner. So. We're going to have contact here. We are. In a race like this, you're not going to move out of the way and let somebody go by. So there's going to be some contact. There's going to be some rubbing. That's part of it. Congratulations to the winners today. Obviously, Andrew Carlson with a great day, phenomenal day. But if we can find that little piece of footage that's going to show what happened before that contact. But in that situation where they're running side by side, Luke was on the outside, Andrew was on the inside. As they start to slide, Luke gets a little more loose. As the car crawls over the top, it locks up that inside wheel, and then as Luke's got on the power, as he's trying to drive down the straightaway, it spins him around. So I've had situations where I've been hooked on the rear bumper of Scott Douglas and pulled him around, and it goes back and forth. So once you look at it, but all in all, we want to see contact and we want to see good hard racing. So that's what we saw.
And you're talking about getting caught and everything, like you said. That's everything that was up at the top. I don't think either Carlson or Luke, I don't think either one of them would be too pissed about what happened. What happened was down at the bottom we were talking about, and that was after driving around with you, that's the one place I thought of. This is going to be the best place on the entire track.
Yep.
As a racer. Let's see if we can look. Really, it's actually before that.
Yeah, this is before that. So you see Luke Johnson is on the outside. He throws it in. Andrew comes in. Now they're both turning. They're both trying to do what they can. There's a little bit of contact. Really no contact there as they start to slide. Andrew does what anybody would do. He's opening up. Luke gets a little bit over rotation, climbs on top of him, and it spins him around. So you can't T-bone somebody from the outside, but it's just racing. That's TORC. That's the off-road championship. That's what we want to see. We want to see fenders flying and stuff like that. Nobody's hurt. Andrew Carlson finished where he was. Yep. Did a great job. Congratulations. I think you got to give it to him. He led from flag to flag in 2 classes.
Would you, or do you give it to Brad Lovell in a place that a lot of people probably don't know that they can pass, and that dude just passed 3/4 of the Pro 2 field.
I think you're right.
That could be another
somebody
option.
that came from a terrible 2 days at Bark River, lost a belt in qualifying, started from the back, came up to second. So definitely those are 2 guys that I feel have a strong run at this.
Lovell's definitely, I think, a strong contender for that. Just because Andrew Carlson didn't pass one guy today.
Nope.
I didn't really think of that until right now, but hey.
Yes, he did. The man with the flag.
Hey, but when you talk about it, though, we talk about that young guns. These are 2 young guns.
Yeah.
Luke Johnson, Andrew Carlson. They're young guns in the sport. We've got that new show coming out soon that'll last throughout October. Take a look at what lies ahead.
A new generation is rising, an inevitable force primed to lay claim to what is theirs. This is Young Guns.
Young Guns at Redbud.
At Redbud.
I like it. And yeah, they're young. How old's Luke now?
Luke is 25.
25. He's getting up there.
Yeah. Great day of racing. I'm curious to what changes they're going to make to the track to try to get a couple more lines out there. You can see them starting to pull the soft dirt off the cushions to bring it back in, to reshape it.
Yeah, they're going to move it on down because everything gets pushed to the outside. So they'll start moving it back down. They'll probably repack everything, just track about the entire track.
Yeah, well, there's, friends with Jeff Nordstrom, and so I'm trying to think of some things that I can help him do, or that I can give pointers that I can give from up here. And my thought is maybe open up the exits. So what I mean by that is keep the same apex on the entry, but then at the midway point, right at the center of the corner, take the exit down so that if a guy comes out wide, he has more of a line to come off on the exit, and that might open up some racing for the exit coming off. So because it seems like we saw some bumping and bagging up top, but we didn't really see the guys getting away. So maybe we can try something to open up some different lines, but basically keep the same track configuration. Just right where you see the impact safety thing, just bring that in a little bit. So from the midway point right in the center, there we see a very happy Andrew Carlson. We see second and third, Brad Lovell, Luke Johnson.
Brad Lovell's just got to be going. Thank you. Finally, I got this thing going. We hear Keegan Kincaid. We thought he's finally sorted things out. I told you it was, in the Pro 4-wheel drives, he finally, got things going like he wanted and had a good result, but he still had a mechanical.
Yep. Sitting there for you to check out. But for one more time, let's go down to the podium and check out what these guys have busting their butts all season long for. And there it is, champagne spraying.
Here's Scott Rain in the background, the voice of off-road, voice of TORC.
Nice job, guys. That's a cool picture right there.
Flipping through all my stuff here, and it's easy to find the winners. Pro Stock UTV, we started off with CJ Greaves, and it could have been the Zach Martin show. It's a lot of what it could have been today. Mod Stock, you name it.
What they say, ifs and buts,
don't say it. Don't
candy
say it.
and nuts. No, we're not going to say that. Ifs and buts for candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day of our life. I'm not going to go the other nuts story.
Yeah.
No, it was a difficult race to pass, but we saw Brad Lovell do a great job working his way up to the front. We saw a lot of drivers make mistakes. We saw a lot of drivers overdrive the course. And we also saw one driver that did not fold to any pressure being out in front. So Andrew Carlson, congratulations to him, doing a great job. Also, we want to congratulate Keegan Kincaid, winning his first Pro 4 of the year. So very strong performances. And funny thing is, as you said, that the Andrew Carlson's truck is Keegan Kincaid's last year's truck. So I wonder what tomorrow's going to bring. Curious.
It's going to bring a whole nother round. We've seen points move around. We saw Brad Lovell get back up into second. And again, when you look at the schedule, we still have one round to make up, but we have two very exciting venues still to go. We've got we've got to go back to Crandon again.
Yep.
We've got to go back to Elk River again.
For 3 rounds.
Yeah, for 3 rounds now instead of 2. So a lot of racing still ahead. And we still have to give our Vision Wheels Bad Mofo Award, and who better to give that than Miss TORC? That'd be Tiffany Stone. Let's go to Tiffany.
All right, guys, this is the time that you want to know everything that you've had. All right, guys, this is the final time that we have this. It is the best Vision Wheel Award that I've ever seen, and it is going to go to the guy that you've seen here twice, 2 out of 3 times, Mr. Andrew Carlson. Andrew, congratulations to you. This is not the first time. You took that once in Bark River. You've done it here again. 2 out of 3. You left your trophy here. We were joking about that. How does that feel to get another Vision Wheel Bad Mofo Award?
It's awesome. It's not something you plan out. It's just I was having fun on this track, and I just got to give it up to everyone at Redbud. They built an awesome track in a few weeks, and we know how hard it is to do that. So, just love the big jumps and the natural terrain, sand, all that. It was awesome. So both trucks had a blast out there, and just couldn't give it up enough for Vision Wheels and for doing this. It's awesome.
Well, congratulations. I know you're going to use some of that money. Look at that. Rumble at Redbud. Vision Wheel. You want to turn that back around? And Andrew Carlson is a bad mofo. Congratulations to you, Andrew Carlson. Right over there, and back up to you guys.
Thank you, Tiff. And, and our first repeat, or first multi-time winner of 2017 in the Bad Mofo Award. So he gets $250 today. He got $250 at Bark River, and he needs to take us out for a
Exactly. I think he should send some adult beverages to the guys in the announcement booth.
I think that'd be a great idea. Maybe a
Actually,
lunch
wait
or
a minute. Wait a
snack.
minute.
Hang on. No, that's tomorrow's money.
Okay.
That's tomorrow's money. We have the other wallet, and that's for the next round, round 10. Ricky Johnson, I'm Robbie Floyd. You've been hearing Kate Osborne with all the scoop down track side. Let's put another one in the book. I thought it was a good race, a new track. Literally, it was everything I thought it would be as far as the way that the track developed throughout the day.
Yeah, it did. And it made it, I've raced not this track, but this dirt right over the hill when we did it here a couple years ago. And the way it gets rutted up and beat up and stuff like that, it's not quite like a motorcycle where you can change lines that easily. A truck holds up the line and it makes it hard to get around, but it's not making mistakes, and that's what we saw out of Andrew Carlson. Today did a great job and was able to keep everything clean and tidy, and not just the truck from the roost and that, but also the way he was driving. He wasn't overdriving. We've seen that happen to him at the pass, get frustrated and then overdrive a little bit, but he held on and he held a very strong
He was hitting his
run.
marks.
He's hitting his marks. He wasn't overdriving the bumps coming in. I wish we could see that. I apologize. We don't have what happened before. If Andrew came in and braked short, if Luke jumped into him and doored him a little bit coming in, either case, both trucks made it around the next corner, and then that's where the contact happened, which that was just a racing incident. Things happen.
And I want to try and draw it out for you. So if it's a left-hand turn and he gives a little too much room to the inside because it's super bumpy and all these bumps are here, that's where Luke Johnson goes. If he gets popped up in the air on some of those braking bumps at that turn, which I knew there would be, then he can't kind of do anything. The answer to that, if you're a racer, whether it be moto or truck, is don't go so wide, hang a tight line, and make the guy go all the way around you. Split the difference or get past.
Or the way I went into it, because I came from the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Grand Prix, and expect to get hit. Plan on getting hit. You're going to get ran into. If they're close enough to run into you, they're going to run into you, especially when you get with guys like Scott Douglas and Johnny Greaves and Rob McCachran and that. When you get with guys that are more seasoned, they're going to use their bumper and they're going to use their side. They're going to move you around. That's part of the racing. You know, Scott Taylor and I had a big argument one time. He says, "Can you not hit me?" Because I would work on him and have to knock him out of the way. And I said, "Yeah, if you would politely, if I come up like in desert racing, give you a tap on the back, that lets you know that I'm faster than you to move out of the way, but you're not going to, so I have to, you're going so fast that I have to use contact to move you out of the way to get that." But what happens is when a driver gets moved out of the way, he loses a lot, he gets very aggressive and he shoots back. So what if this is a book out of my page out of my playbook, is that you position before submission. You get a guy in a position, you give him a choice, either go off the track or get behind you. I feel that's fair. Some people curse me a lot for that. That's racing.
Yeah, and again, we got another round still ahead. Round number 10 coming up tomorrow here in Redbud. If you live in the area and you've been watching at TORCseries.com or YouTube, come on over. It's going to be an exciting day. It's supposed to be perfect weather, the best weather they've had all year. It's not going to be hot. Low chances of rain. The dirt's perfect. The track, they're grooming it to be perfect. Ricky Johnson, Robbie Floyd, Kate Osborne will be back, and the best racers in short course off-road racing. TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. We're done with round number 9, the Rumble at Redbud. Let's do it again at round 10.